5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So who that would be? Peters?
Peter's gone. You ready? It on? It live? How come no? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah.
Good day and welcome to the James Ronald Webster Park. It's the first of the semi-finals in the APL. News from the middle, the Razor Massive won the toss, elected to have a bat first, and as you would see, the first delivery would have got the wicket, seen the back of the destructive Showing Peters, and brings the man Keithstone Richardson to the crease. Very good first delivery from the man Tariq Newman, and the very first delivery of his over. He's gone ahead and pick up the wicket of Peters and set the Razor Massive on the back foot. Razor Massive now 1 wicket, no run in the first delivery of the first over. It's bright sunshine here at the James Ronald Webster Park, semi-final 1 of the APL. Razor Massive won the toss and not what they expected to begin with. Very first delivery, the Tariq Newman there, spot on target, and would have bowled out the man the man Showing Peters, and brings the left-handed Keithstone Richardson to the crease. And the Pointers will be very excited for that, getting a wicket on the first delivery. All important game here for both teams. It's a semi-final number 1, and no better way to start it for the Pointers by picking up early wickets. They probably would have bat first had they won the toss, but with that stat, won't be that disappointed that they didn't win the toss. Tariq Newman will bowl to left-handed Richardson. There's a slip in position. Only one man on the boundary is deep mid-wicket. And here is Tariq Newman from the Central Polyclinic end. Goes past umpire. Bowls to Richardson, who is driving behind square. He's going to get a single. They're going to come back for the second. It's going to be a quick run and they will get there quite easily. So it's a good start here for the man Richardson, just getting off the mark. Score moves on to 2. Tariq Newman with the excellent first delivery, picking up the wicket. Here is Newman again, goes past umpire Webster, bowls to Richardson, who is just shoreline arms to that one. It's a good delivery outside the line of the off stump, and it's a dot delivery as well. Here's Richardson again, taps away. Newman goes past the umpire, bowls to Richardson, who is just playing this man on the pitch. Bounce and turn there for the man Newman. And Richardson can't score. Razor Massive would have been set back by that first delivery, picking up the wicket. Here is Newman again. Goes to Richardson, bowls to Richardson. This time he's just playing it back. And it's going to be another dot delivery. So very, very good start here for the man Newman. Only 2 runs so far in the over, and he's already picked up the wicket. And the Pointers will really enjoy that. Here is Newman again. Goes past the umpire. Now he bowls to Richardson, who is driving. It's a foolish delivery, and it's going to go down to the boundary for 4. Very good start. Taking advantage of that loose delivery there from the man Newman. He would have bowled so brilliantly. And then the last delivery would just low full toss and smashes away for 4. And the score moves on to 6. 6 for 1 at the end of over number 1.
Yes, not a bad over. In fact, a brilliant over, picking up the wicket of Peters, who last match really made the Pointers pay. He was really looking good, and this match he was gone, bowled for the duck, and the Razor Massive here was left rather concerned and shuffled the order. Richardson is now in, and they have 6 for 1, and this will require a rebuilding, even though they realize that they will have to continue to score runs in these 20 overs. But who's the bowler? A new bowler? Wait, I tell Oliver. Who's the number 3? Well, we're not sure who the bowler is. He'll be bowling to the batsman, and he's pulling it down towards long leg, fine leg. It may run into the boundary, and it has gone away for 4 runs. So 4 runs here to the pointer, to the Razor Massive, taking the score on to 10 for 1 in the course of the Solomon Open. Bowling. Okay. So Solomon is the bowler. I'm scoring and trying to also look at the game. Single here to Solomon. So he now, in fact, is off the mark. He's 1. So 1 run to Solomon.
And that was David there, sorry. Kenroy David, who would have gotten that single. And good enough strike. So the score moves on to 11 for 1 in the course of over number 2. The Pointers with a very good start in the first over. Now Solomon goes past the umpire, now bowls to Keithstone Richardson, who is getting one outside the off stump, plays it, and he goes straight through the man Hubbard, and that is going to go into the boundary for 4. A poor bit of fielding there from Hubbard, and that one goes into the boundary, and the score moves on to 15 for 1. It was a loose delivery, shot wide outside the off stump, but it should have been a regulation stop from the man Hubbard. there at the backward point region, but it went straight through him into the boundary for 4, and the score moves on to 15-1. Razor Massive, after losing that early wicket, just seemed to be racing along nicely here in the course of over number 2.
Yes, good. Unfortunate for the bowler, a misfield, but certainly good for the Razor Massive.
Solomon here, tossing the ball from hand to hand, goes past the umpire right now, bowls to Richardson, who is pulling this one. It's a short delivery, and Richardson is going to pull this one behind square, and it's going to run into the boundary. Is it? Yes, it does. Goes into the boundary for another boundary here. Richardson is on fire. Bad delivery, short delivery, and pulled away by Richardson. Square of the wicket, and it goes into the boundary for 4.
Yes, short delivery and given the full treatment. Good stroke by Richardson, making capital of that loose delivery.
So far, it's turning out to be a very expensive one for the Pointers. Some 13 runs coming from it already. And here is Rian Solomon. Goes past umpire now. Bowls to Richardson against a short delivery. And he's going to play this one behind square on the offside this time. Poor bit of footwork done there from the man, Carlisle Hughes. And that goes into the boundary for another 4. It seems to be raining boundaries here at the James Earl Webster Park.
It certainly is, and Richardson capitalizing on this. A short delivery outside the off stump, and he was back and cracking it backward a point and down to the boundary. The man came across, tried some football, but it didn't work, and into the boundary for 4. So expensive over here for, is this Solomon?
Yes, Solomon.
Yes, Solomon. Very expensive over. He tends to be on the short side, but he's found 2 batsmen who plays the short delivery pretty well, and he has come in for some rough treatment.
Here's Rian Solomon again. Leaves us here from the commentary booth and goes past the umpire, bowls another short delivery, and he's pulled that away into the leg side. The fielder coming around, does a bit of tidy work, and is only going to restrict them to a single, and that brings the over to end. Some 18 runs coming from that second over, and the score moves on to 24-1. At the end of over number 2, it's 24-1. The Razor Massive won the toss, elected to bat first, losing a wicket on the first delivery, but they say, I'm not going to let that keep me down. I'm going to go ahead and keep the scorecard ticking over, and at the end of over number 2, 24 for the loss of 1.
24 for the loss of 1 over number 2. Just rebuilding, having lost their first wicket earlier clock, and certainly good going for the Razor Massive. As I say, good afternoon to all of our listeners taking our broadcast right here from the James Ronald Webster Park. It's going to be an exciting encounter here this afternoon, or this morning going into this afternoon.
Yeah, certainly the man Tariq Newman will continue from the Central Polyclinic end. He will bowl his first over for just 6 runs, and he picked up the wicket on the first delivery, and it's been chaotic here, ridiculous bowling, because the ball have been knocked to all parts of the ground in the second over, and he will be looking to pull back things here. So he's going to continue from the Central Polyclinic end. He's going to be bowling to the man Richardson, who's on fire. Here is Newman, goes past the umpire and bowls to Richardson, who's just coming casually and playing this one down the track. And he's saying, okay, if you're the better bowler, I'm going to see you through. I'm just going to get the singles off you. I'm not going to look to really hit the big shots. Here is Newman again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Richardson outside the off stump. He seems to like it there, and he's going to get a single. It's going to be an easy single, and there might be some overthrow here, and they're going to get another run. Poor bit of fielding there. The Pointers a bit flat-footed in the field and just giving away too much runs.
Yeah, very sloppy there in the outfield there. Firstly, the player feeling the ball, overthrowing, and no backup at all, giving an addition to the total, which they can really ill afford. Here is Newman, bowls to Richardson. He leg glances and picks up an easy single.
It's a single here. Richardson just getting off strike, hitting that one behind square. Tariq Newman just drifting there on the leg side, and he will bring the man Kenroy David on strike. He's gonna see Richards. He's gonna see Newman for the first time, David, and just the sweep on the offside and long off, sorry. Here is Newman, goes past the umpire, now he's bowling to David, who is big heave, is going down to the man at long off boundary, and it's going to go over his head. It hasn't gone all the way for 6, just waiting for the signal from the umpire, and yes, that's a huge 6. Just drifting up, just flighting up a little bit too much, and David saying, yeah, you're in my area, and I'm going to hit you straight down the boundary for 6.
Very well struck there by David, and the fielder down there on the long on boundary thought he had a chance, but that ball sailed over his head and into over the rope for 6 good runs. So continue and pushing on the scoring is the Razor Massive. Having lost an early wicket, they are going very nicely here.
Yes, indeed, the Razor Massive going nicely. Some 33 runs in the 2.4 overs they've received, just losing the 1 wicket. And they're certainly taking this semi-finals serious. And they're going to scamper through for a single here. Went straight to the man at mid-on. And they went through for a single. It was struck powerfully, but that didn't stop the guys from getting a single. The bowler, Newman, not pleased about that. But the score moves on to 34 now for 1. 34 for 1 in 2.5 overs completed. Here is Newman here. Goes now, bowls to Richardson, who is getting one. Another shot delivery. He's just going to play back. And the very, very good run in between the wickets from these two. The fielder in the circle just cut flat-footed. And they went through and scamper a single. The over comes to an end. It's 35 for 1 at the end of over number 3.
At the end of over number 3, 35 for 1. And really going great guns here. Scoring over just a little under 12 runs and over, and you can say really good going there to the Razor Massive. We know that they have been slow starters, so to speak, in terms of setting scores and even chasing runs, but having lost that early wicket, they are certainly motoring along here after 3 overs, some 35 runs on the board already, and the pointers just looked a little bit lackluster in the field in terms of the bowling, their feeling, not looking the together team that we have seen throughout the course of this tournament in this first semi-finals. But it's going to be Herbert now. Maybe that can stem the flow of runs here. Your name again? Benjamin, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a change in the bowling. Rian Solomon would have been very expensive in his first over, so they're going to change the bowling. It's going to be the man Andrew Herbert, who will take up the bowling from the commentators' booth end. And he will be bowling to the man Keithstone Richardson. And there's a change in the field. There's going to have a man going out on the square leg boundary. He's going to go round to more of a mid-wicket area. And there's the man at the deep cover boundary. Here is Herbert tossing the ball from hand to hand. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's going to try to pull back the score in here. Razor Massive getting off to a flyer. Here is Herbert now. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Richardson. It's a short delivery, and he's going to try to sneak it behind square. There's no run resulting. It's a dot delivery. Went straight to the man, Omari Banks. And here is Herbert again. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Richardson. It's a full delivery in the outside of stump. Diving effort there from the man at the backward point region, but it's going to result in a single. And that's very important, the singles as well, because it's not just the boundaries in the power play, but the rotation of the strike and taking advantage of the left-arm, right-arm combination.
Yeah, certainly, and also the power play as well. And they're making pretty good use so far. Scoring over 10 runs and over. We'll want to see whether or not they can maintain that scoring rate to the end.
Yes, indeed. And there's a change in the field to accommodate the right-handed David. The man at mid-on goes to long-on. Here is Herbert bowls to him, and he's going to smash this one. He's going to go over the middle fielder, and that's going to trickle away pretty close to the boundary, and in fact it does go into the boundary for 4. Very good batting here from the man Kenroy David. Both fielders on the boundaries, on the leg side, and he just gave himself that room inside out and goes over the man at the mid-off region and gets the boundary. And the scorecard here for the Razor Massive just keeps on ticking.
Yes, and David continuing from the previous over. Probably Herbert, maybe just a loosener, that being his first over. And David is certainly looking to push on.
This one is shot outside the off stump, and David just rocks back on the back foot and hits it over the man at the backward point region, and it's another boundary here. This is very good batting here from the pointer, from the Razor Massive, sorry. The score moves on to 44 for 1 in the course of over number 4.
Yes, and like I said, Hobart still trying to find his line and length, pitching up and pitching short, pitching wide, and been given the full treatment here by David so far. We'll certainly tell you the individual scores in just a little bit as we're doing dual work here, but we can certainly tell you that the Razor Massive, they are really pushing on at 44 in the 4th over.
Here is Hubbard again, goes past the umpire ball to Kenroy David. This is a better delivery, and he's gonna try to get a single here, but it will result in a dot delivery. He was too short on the previous occasion, and he just brought his length up a bit, and that's a much better length for him to be bowling. David on 20 of 7 deliveries, and Richardson 24 from 15 balls. Here is Hubbard, bowls to David. It's an inside edge, almost chucked on, and it's another dot delivery. So a very good end to the over there from the man Hubbard. And the over comes to an end of over number 4, 44 for the loss of 1.
Yes, the Razor Massive been asked to bat, losing Peters early, but have certainly consolidated. And I mean, we probably can't say consolidated because they would have lost Peters in the first over. They just continue, they're looking to continue what they would have planned, what they wanted to do, and are certainly scoring great guns here with these two batters here in Richardson and David so far. The bowling for the Blowing Point Pointers has looked a little bit suspect, not their usual tight self as we would have seen. They have got the reinforcement over Maury Banks. Whether that would pay dividends, we'll wait and see. But so far they have been put to the cosh here in really giving away a lot of runs.
Yes, indeed, they've given away a lot of runs, a lot of loose deliveries. They've been on the shorter side for most part of it, and these two batsmen have taken advantage of that, really. And it's a very, very good start indeed. Yes, this partnership with some 44 runs from 23 deliveries. And here is going to be a change in the bowling from the Central Polyclinic end. It's going to be the man Noddle Lake replacing Tariq Newman. Newman wasn't that bad in his first couple of overs, but I guess they're just hanging back those two for the back end of the innings. And they're going to the experienced veteran Noddle Lake. He's going to be bowling to the left-handed Keithstone Richardson. It's a little bit of matchup with the ball going away from Richardson, so he would want to bowl most of his deliveries to Richardson rather than to the man David, who is a right-handed batter. So just a few last-minute changes in the field from the captain, Leon Lake, bringing up the man at the mid-wicket boundary into the circle. So they're going with long on and long off outside. Here is Lake, goes past the umpire, bowls to Richardson, who is flighting that up, and Richardson just coming forward casually and playing it down. Dot delivery, no run resulting. Good start here from the man Noddle Lake, right on the money. Here is Lake again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Richardson, and Richardson is just going to get a single. Just knocks it down to the man at the long off boundary, and it results in 1 run. It's going to put the man Kenroy David on strike. It's more a matchup here for David because he's going to get the ball turning into him. And we know he likes that tug towards the leg side. So we're going to see when he's going to bring it out.
Certainly. And what Lake will be looking to do here is really to stem the flow of runs. But not only that, but to pick up wickets as well. That could augur well for the Blowing Point Pointers.
Yes, indeed. If they get to break this partnership and they're going to put the man, changing the field, the man goes on the mid-wicket boundary. probably for that big heave in the leg side. Here is another Lake goes past the umpire, bowls to David, who is looking to sweep, struck in front, and the umpire raises the dreaded finger, and you called it Northern Lake, broke the partnership, very good partnership, and that man Kenroy David is gone, and Razor Massive loses the second wicket.
Yes, and David will certainly be disappointed. Was batting very well and really building. And first ball from Lake, really trying to swing across the line and was trapped in front. And the umpire down there in Jacques Webster has no hesitation but to point that dreaded finger up. And I'm certainly sure what the pointers would have been looking for, that is to get a wicket to really curtail the runs that they have leaked so far. On the other hand, the Razor Massive, they would be disappointed that having had a good start and a good platform to build on, that David would have given his hand away.
Yes, indeed, because they had this very good platform, like you mentioned. After losing the wicket, the wicket in the first delivery, they didn't get kept bogged down, but they went on the counter-attack mode, and it certainly had worked for them. And losing this wicket now, it's interesting to see. It's going to be the man, Ashan Hodge, the captain, coming out to bat, and it's interesting to see where his mindset is.
Yes, well, certainly he has got some time, really, because they aren't really behind in terms of the scoring rate. They're not chasing, so they're trying to set a score, and the platform is there. Even though they have lost 2 wickets, I think it's a good time for him to really take his time, see how the bowlers are bowling, watch how the pitch is playing, and try to build an innings from here and not to lose any more wickets as they continue in their innings.
Yeah, that's certain as well, but I'm not sure if you took a look at the pitch earlier, but I did just go ahead and look at the pitch, and I think the team batting second will have had the better advantage, because there was some rain last night and there's a little bit of moisture in the pitch at the moment, and when it certainly dries out, I think it will play a lot flatter for the team batting second.
Well, certainly I can agree with you, because it's been playing good so far, and there's some moisture in it, and you had a look at it, and you would certainly thought that he would play better. Well, but the thing is that Ashan is not pressured so much to score, because they've got some runs on the board so far, and we are only into the 5th over, and so he can certainly try and look to at least graft and score innings. Here's Lake.
Bowls to Ashan Hodges. I think there's an appeal for the outside edge, but no response from the umpire. And it's another dot delivery. This is turning out to be a very good over there from the man, Nadal Lake. Just one run coming from it so far. Here is Nadal. Bowls to Ashan, who is hitting this one down. And that's going to go all the way over the fence. And that's a huge 6. Very, very good shot there from the man, Ashan Hodge. And that would have answered our question. We see where his mindset is. Just keep the scorecard ticking. They're not going to take off their foot on the gas. And that's a huge 6 down the ground from Ashan Hodge. Nadal Lake just giving this one a little too much flight, being a bit too friendly on that occasion. And Hodge just taking full advantage of that one.
Yes, certainly. Yes, Hodge bringing up the 50-51 for 2, that is. And we are still yet in the power play. Look at loose delivery there after Hodge would have faced the first one that he would have missed. Probably say, well, okay, it's not doing too much, so I can really go at this one as it was presented to him, and he duly obliged and hitting it for a really good 6.
And that comes back to our point. The pitch is playing so well that he faced one delivery and he could trust the bounce to say, I'm going to hit through the line, and you see the result. So the pitch is definitely playing a lot better. And it's 51 for 2. 51 for 2. 51 for 2 in the course of over number 5. And here is Nadal Lake tossing the ball from hand to hand after being struck down the ground for 6 by the man Ashan Hodge. Here is Nadal Lake Goes past the umpire, bowls to Ashan Hodge, who is just nudging this one behind point, and it's going to result in a dot delivery. And the over comes to an end of over number 5. Razor Massive won the toss, elected to have a bat first, and they're 51 for 2 at the end of over number 5.
51 for 2 at the end of over number 5. Northern Lake being brought on to really stem the flow of runs. Did so briefly. Good over and in the end, even though he would have been struck for 6 there by Ashan Hodge, to bowl your force over, getting up picking up a wicket and only giving away 7 runs. You could say a good start for Northern Lake. We will see whether or not the other bowlers coming behind him can really squeeze the life out of the Razor Massive batters, because they have really got a good platform and can really set a good score here at what looked to be a real promising good wicket to bat on, Benjamin.
Yes, certainly looks like a good wicket to bat on, and it's another bowling change from the pointers. It's going to be the man Cheidyn Carmichael, who's going to pick up the bowling from the commentators' booth end. Young, talented Carmichael would have gotten that selection in the CPL to play for the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. And we're going to see what he can do to slow down the scoring here. Carmichael goes past the umpire now, bowls to Richardson. It's a friendly full toss, and he hits it straight to the man Hubbard. And disappointed, straight to the man Hubbard. And Carmichael, this would not have been his best delivery, but it certainly did the trick. Got the result needed. Very first delivery. And Richardson, he picked out Herbert. He could have hit that anywhere on the park, and he picked out Herbert, and Razor Massive loses another wicket.
Yes, Benjamin, and again we've seen a batsman here who would have been set and really was playing some good shots. Loosener there by Carmichael, and I'm certainly sure he would say, well, that was not one of my better balls, but picking up a wicket there from a loose drive there from Richardson, and only to the downfall, hitting it straight down the throat of Herbert, who gleefully accepted, and he has to make his way back to the pavilion, further setting back the Razor Massive. So we've got 2 new batters at the crease at the moment, and just what the pointers would have wanted.
Definitely what the pointers would have wanted. And the pitch is not doing that much for the bowling. That last delivery wasn't the best of deliveries. In fact, it didn't even pitch. And there's no excuse from the man Richardson. They're just giving his hand away after such a good start, a solid platform. The Razor Massive, I think that's the time where they need to rebuild and say, okay, let's try to get to over number 10 without losing another wicket, and then we can pick up the scoring again.
Yes, certainly, because they've got runs on the board. We haven't even reached the halfway stage, like I said, as yet. They have already scored some 51 runs. To be losing these quick wickets can really jolt their progress in terms of putting up a respectable score for the pointers.
Yes, indeed. And another left-handed batsman replaces a left-handed batsman. It's going to be the man Akeem Charles. He's going to be on strike. And Carmichael tossing the ball from hand to hand. He's going to bowl his first delivery to Charles. Slip in position. Here is Carmichael. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Charles, who is just coming forward and playing this one nicely, resulting in no run. And an interesting stat. Teams who have lost 3 wickets or more inside the power play, more times than not, tend to lose the match. So here is Carmichael here, goes past the umpire, bowls to Charles, who's just notching this one back along the side of the pitch, and it's another dot delivery. So the first delivery, he hadn't got his reader right, but he's certainly spot on target now. Carmichael goes past the umpire, bowls to Charles, who is looking to tuck this one behind square, unable to do so, and that might be trouble. Ashan is gone! Ashan is gone! Ashan Hodge is gone! The pointers is excited. That is chaotic. There was never a single on. The ball went straight to the man Ross Powell at short mid-wicket, and Ashan took off. I'm not sure where he was going, but he has to go back to the pavilion. Ashan Hodge is gone, run out.
again, and this could spell trouble for the Razor Massive in terms of their qualification for the finals. They've had a good start after having lost the early wicket of Peters. We're seeing where two set batters in that of David and Richardson got to their 20s, scoring more than a runner ball actually, and have given away their wicket. And now here we have seen where Hodge really running and going nowhere after the ball had gone to the fielder, not really recognizing that the fielder would have fielded the ball and picked it up nicely, tossed it back straight to the bowler there who was over the stumps, and it was curtains for him. Calvin Hughes right on the spot with that dreaded finger, and really terrible as we look at the replay there. Benjamin really careless there on the captain there in the part of Ashawn Hodge.
Very, very careless running from Ashawn Hodge, and that has put the Razor Massive in a spot of bother. 51 for 4. Harris Carmichael goes past the umpire, bowls to Charles. This time Charles, I think he struck on the pad, the appeal, and that is another dot delivery. Another dot delivery there. So it's a very good over so far from the man Carmichael. Yet a run coming from his over. Here is Carmichael. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Charles, who is going to hit that one down the ground, and it's going to go straight to the man, another lick, and it's just going to be a single. So it would have been a maiden over, but a single in the last delivery. Over comes to an end. And Razor Massive 52 for 4 at the end of over number 6. The power play has been completed. We would have seen some 4 wickets falling in the power play, and they still managed to score 52 runs.
Yes, the thing is they from 45 for 1 they scored some 7 runs and lost some 3 wickets. So really careless on the part of the Razor Massive, and really can really put a monkey wrench, as we would say in the spokes, in terms of the score that they want to set. As we have mentioned, it looks a good pitch to bat on. As we can see, is there, yes, Lake to continue from the other end, and these batters will certainly definitely need to put their heads down and consolidate and try to push the score on, Benjamin.
Certainly, these two need to look to bat through until the 10th over. Here is now the Lake. Bowls to Charles, who is just playing this one back. It's a misfield there from Lake, and it's going to be a single. And the very first delivery getting a single. And that's what they need to do at the moment. Just rotate the strike and try to build a little bit of partnership here. And then they can think about the acceleration after.
Yes, certainly. We're still a long way away from the halfway stage. And like I said, they have passed 50. And so still good platform to build on.
Lake now bowls to Rogers for the first time. Rogers just playing this one back. It's a dot delivery. The Pointers certainly looking to pull back things here after the flyer that the Massive would have got with. Here is Lake. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers, who is just tabbing this one behind point, and it's going to be a single. Very, very good comeback here. Fighting effort from the blowing point Pointers. Keem Charles taps away. Here is another Lake. Shot delivery, and he's pulling this one, and that is going to go all the way for 6. Very good shot. Pulling this one. It's a shot delivery, a long hop rally, and this one just sat up and he just pulled it away. Huge 6 over the mid-wicket region.
Certainly, and Charles has certainly looked good so far. He's not looked rushed in playing anything, and playing each ball on its merit, and picking up 6 good ones.
Here is another Lake. Bowls to Charles again. This time he's flighted up a little bit better, and it just taps it back to the bowler. So immediately correcting that error after dragging his length down. Just much better delivery. Here is another Lake again. It's a full delivery, and it's going to be a single this time, and that should be the end of the over. So end of over number 7. It's 61 for 4. 61 for 4 at the end of over number 7.
61 for 4, and certainly these two batters in that of Rogers and Charles, they would have seen 3 quick wickets going down, and they will certainly be saying that, well, okay, we really don't want to lose anymore. Even if we have to face 1 or 2 maiden overs, we're going to set ourselves a good platform in which to launch from, because we have only lost some 4 wickets. We have got the other batters in the shed, and we've got a good platform that we've started from, and we'll certainly look to build from here. But so far they would have to at least contend with Carmichael as well, who would have bowled a very good first over.
A very, very good first over indeed, only costing 1 run and picking up a wicket as well. He will continue here from the commentators' booth end. Man Cheidyn Carmichael. So now the power play has completed, and we're going to see some fielders going on the boundary. There's a man at deep forward mid-wicket. There's a long on. There's a sweeper on the offside. And that's what they're going to work with for now. Everyone else in the circle still trying to apply pressure on the Razor Massive. Here's Carmichael, goes past the umpire, bowls to Charles. This one is skied. It's going to be the man Oliver Walker settling under it, and he takes a comfortable catch. Not what required at the moment for the Razor Massive, and they lose another wicket, and yet again it's a man Cheidyn Carmichael. Very good delivery here. Tosses it up, a little bit of rev on it, and Charles looking to tuck it into the leg side, and he has to go.
Well, again, just as we were saying that these two batters in Carmichael will definitely need to settle down and consolidate. Carmichael just giving his wicket away, as we would have seen throughout this tournament, even down the West Indies, where the batters are just giving away the wickets just as if it's just a freebie. It's going to bring, is that Jacob Pals?
Yeah, that's yes. Jacob Pals.
And he has seen in last year's tournament, he has had a good head on his shoulders, and we will see whether or not he will follow the trend. I'll look to see if he can really at least consolidate with Rogers as well, and look to push the score on at 61 for 5.
61 for 5. After the flyer, the Razor Massive have gotten out with, and they seems to be losing wickets in clusters.
Yes, certainly.
And it was a very good catch there from the man Oliver Walker, judging it well. It went a long way up. He judged it well and make it look rather easy.
Yes, certainly. At one point he was moving forward, moving back, moving sideways, and then he just seemed to steady himself right under it and really took a good catch. At one point I thought he would have eluded him, but he judged it pretty well and caught it pretty well as well.
Yeah, it's even a more difficult catch on a day like today with the wind. That's why you would see him moving around that much. The wind was certainly heavy out here today. High winds. It's going to be very difficult hitting a 6 on that end, because you're going against the wind, and that's the little things the batsmen need to pick up. It's going to be harder hitting the ball on this end. So if you could just nudge it around, get a single, hit the ball along the ground, and when you're on the other end, take full advantage of that. Here is Carmichael again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers. Ooh, bounce and turn. That's an absolute ripper. Very good delivery there from the man Cheidyn Carmichael.
Yes, really solidifying his call to play in the CPL. That's coming up shortly.
Here is Carmichael again. Goes past the umpire now. Bowls to Rogers, who is just nudging this one back straight to the man Herbert. And it's another dot delivery. Very good bowling there from the man Cheidyn Carmichael. Here is Carmichael again. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers. Rogers is hitting that one in the offside, and still another delivery. Very clean work here from the man Garvey Lake. Would have run and picked that up without even stopping. Very, very good work there from the man Lake. Carmichael again going through his over quickly. Bowls to Rogers, and it's another dot delivery. Very good over here from Carmichael, consecutively as well. His first over would have went for some 1 run and picked up a wicket. This one, a wicket and yet to go for a run. Will he complete the maiden? He goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers. Yes, it's going to be a maiden here. Maiden over from the man Cheidyn Carmichael. 8 overs completed, 61 for 5, the Razor Massive.
Yes, and I really have to give kudos to Rogers there for really playing each ball and its merit. Having seen a clutter of wickets falling around him, really playing the over as is. And while it's a maiden over there to the blowing point pointers, the Razor Massive would say to themselves, well, we haven't conceded a wicket, and still heading to the halfway stage. Still a lot to play for in this encounter here between these two teams, the first semi-finals of the APL 2022, with the Razor Massive taking on the blowing point pointers, and these two teams would have played for, I think, was third place last year, and again they have met in the finals, first semi-finals, that is.
Yeah, they meet in the first semi-finals. Very good rivalry between those two teams, and it's going to be the man Tariq Newman goes past the umpire, bowls to Jacob Pals, and he's going to leave this one outside the off stump, resulting in a dot delivery. And just a key thing to mention here, they have not bowled any extras and win over number 8.
Wow.
Here is Tariq Newman, bowls to Pals again, and it's another dot delivery. So whereas the Razor Massive would have gotten off to a flyer, the bowlers have not lost the line that much. It was just the length. Shot delivery, Jacob Pals pulling this one into the leg side. A little bit of tidy work here from the man Gavi Lake, but can't stop the single. Score moves on to 62 into the cost of over number
9.
Cost of over number 9. Here is Newman now bowling to Rogers. Tossing this one up. It's going to be a dot delivery here from the man Tariq Newman. The left-arm spinners for the pointer seems to be going through the overs rather quickly. Very, very quickly. Here is Tariq Newman. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers. It's another dot delivery. So something we would have seen all tournament long, the spinners dominating. Early on, they went for a little bit of runs, but now they seem to be pulling back things nicely here, the blowing point pointers. Here is Newman again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers, and they're going to get, we just have to wait for the signal from the umpire. I think there was a bottom edge on that, so it'll be runs, and the over comes to an end. End of over number 9, some 63 for 5.
Yes, and like you would have said, even though they were going helter-skelter, at a belter was the Razor Massive. The pointers quite disciplined in terms of the way they bowled, and not giving, well, we haven't seen any extras since we would have started, and really good composure, good tight bowling, pulling things back, and really at this point in time really putting the squeeze on the Razor Massive, while these two batters try to at least consolidate for their team, the Razor Massive.
Yes, indeed. The spinners have put the brakes on the Razor Massive, and in particular the man Cheidyn Carmichael. Interesting stat: 2 overs, 1 maiden, 2 wickets, 1 run. Very, very good stat from the man Cheidyn Carmichael. And now a slipping position for the man APL Rogers. Here is Carmichael, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers, and it's a very good delivery outside the off stump. And what Rogers really has to look out for is that arm ball that Carmichael has. It will appear to go away from you, but it's going to come back in and come back sharply.
Here's Carmichael again in bowl to Rogers, and he's going for a big heave again, and missing everything. Certainly needs to be careful here, facing up to Carmichael, who's really bowling a good spell here for the pointers.
Yeah, a lot of dot deliveries from the man Cheidyn Carmichael, beginning this over with 2 dot deliveries as well. His 2 previous overs, first deliveries would have been wickets. Here is Carmichael, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers, looking to hit, and I think there was an inside edge, some half-hearted appeal. Half-hearted appeal left from the man Carmichael, but it's another dot delivery. And the runs have certainly dried up for the Razor Massive.
And we can see Paul's there really telling him how he ought to approach the shot.
Here is Carmichael again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers, who is just, and he makes some contact here, and that's going to go pretty close to the boundary. Gavi Lake giving it a chase. And he's going to pull it back in. It's going to be just the 2 runs. 2 welcome runs here from the Razor Massive.
Yeah, just guiding it away from the right hand there of Omari Banks and picking up 2 good runs.
Here is Carmichael again. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers. And that one is down the leg side. He's going to be signal wide. And the batsman would cross through for a single as well. The score now moves on to 67 for 5. And Jacob Pals would be facing the man Cheidyn Carmichael for the first time. Omari Banks standing at slip still. Here is Carmichael, goes past the umpire, bowls to Jacob. He's down the leg side again, just getting a bit untidy there, Carmichael, and that one will run away into the boundary for 4 wides.
Well, we said all afternoon that they have bowled very well. This time 2 loose ones. I'm getting away there from Carmichael, maybe just trying to be too really stingy in terms of giving away runs from the bat, but giving away by the wides as well.
Harris Carmichael again goes past the umpire, bowls to Pals. He's going to reload this one. It's going to be a dead ball by the umpire Calvin Hughes. He's just trying to be a little bit too straight, probably getting a little bit greedy for turn. Here is the man Carmichael, goes past the umpire, bowls to Pals, tosses that one up and drives well, but it's going to be a dot delivery straight to the man in the short extra cover region there, Ross Powell. Here's Carmichael again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Pals, bounce and turn, but Pals steers this one away and steers it away well. Gonna get a single, they're gonna scamper through for a second. Not the best of throws, and they will come through for 2. Very good run in here. First run very hard and putting pressure on the fielder, and they would come through for a second run.
Yes, and Pals, as we come to the end of the over, Pals there was really pushing and running to the danger end and saying to Roger, well, you need to come. Had the throw been a lot better, that could have spelled some trouble there. But a poor throw in there from Garvey, maybe just catching his breath after having had to run up the hill on 2 occasions as we head to the water break. And yes, as we say, welcome to Radio Anguilla for joining us live. They've been covering this tournament since we would have started early in this year, and they're with us this morning, as well as Class FM, not forgetting on the television screen Mega Charles 54 as well. They are the broadcasters that are bringing to your homes, to your cars, to your radios this broadcast here. And we have a good match on our hands here, Benjamin, as we head to the water break. 73 for 5 after 9 overs? 10?
Yeah. After 10 overs.
After 10 overs, sorry. 74, sorry. 74 for 5 after 10 overs. So at the halfway point, 7.4 runs and over. The Razor Massive, they can feel good of themselves, having lost a couple of wickets in a cluster there, and certainly shows they're still in with a chance to put up a good score in excess of over 140 runs if they can contain themselves and if they can bat on through deep these 2 batters into the 20 overs.
Yes, certainly the pointers would have got the start of their life, seeing the back of the man, showing Peter's first delivery. We know how destructive Peters can be, and shortly after, the man Kenroy David and Keishon Richardson would have put on a very good partnership, a flyer, I should say, some 40-yard partnership in some 20-yard deliveries, very, very quick runs, and then the wickets just start crumbling. But if these 2, Akimel Rogers and Jacob Pals, could steer this Island Harbour Razor Massive team through the next 5 or so overs, and then they accelerate, some acceleration in towards the back end, because we still have the man Lanville Harrigan to come. We have the man Rolando Wright. We still have the man Burton to come. We know Roland Wright and Lanville Hurricane can be very destructive. And Jacob Pals himself can be destructive. He's there. He just needs to just spend some time in the middle and rebuild his innings here for the Razor Massive.
That's true. Bolton is batting pretty deep. Bolton is batting pretty deep here, and I'm not too sure if he would have came late or whether he's carrying an injury or somewhat, but he's somewhat far down the order. And well, they still have him in the shed. And these two batters will certainly look to push on and to really make sure that the Razor Massive put up a respectable score where their team is concerned to push themselves into the finals. But they've got a task on their hand. I'm going to make some way for Doc Bryan.
Good afternoon, Doc.
Yes, it's been a good start for the Razor Massives in terms of their scoring, but they just lost too many wickets. Too many wickets, I must say. And as was just shown there on the screen, they lost some wickets unnecessarily, very unnecessarily. And would have liked for one of either Keithstone Richardson, Kenroy, David Usher, and Peters to still be there. They would have liked for one of them to be there, but they've all fallen.
Yes, indeed, but we still kind of counter the man Jacob Pals. We know how destructive he can be once he gets going.
As we would have seen last year when he would have came in one of the games, he scored about 40 out quickly, very quickly. Would have played for Anguilla and all on the age levels. Would have been a teammate of mine as well as on the age level, and I remember him going to, was it either St. Kitts or Nevis, and scoring a brilliant century.
I think also recently he came from the UK, scoring 135 runs in some 120 something deliveries.
Yes, so he is a very good batsman, and he will have to bat out the remaining quarter, I must say, for the Razor Massives to get to a total of around 140 or 150 odd if they wanted to make it through to the final.
Yes, indeed. And shortly after the drinks break, it's going to be the man Khalid Hughes picking up the bowling from the Central Polyclinic end. Here's Khalid, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers. Bounce right on the money here. Khalid, a very tall figure, so he will extract a lot more bounce than the other spinners. Another left-hand spinner as well.
He's a good bowler. He's a very good bowler, Khalid Hughes.
Here is Hughes again, goes past the umpire. Bowls to Rogers, is going to be a single. Just knocks it down the ground for an easy single. And it's going to bring the man Jacob Pals on strike.
So Pals, a right-arm batter. He'll be facing Khalid Hughes. Hughes from the Central Polyclinic ends will be going between the umpire and stumps to Jacob Pals. After this delivery, pauses forward and driving into the offside. It will be no run. Hughes is not been used to his full potential thus far, but he is getting an opportunity in this semi-final. He's in again now and passes forward and easily driving it down to a long on for what will be a relatively comfortable single. Goes on by one for the Razor Massives. Here comes Hughes once again. Into bowl this time into Rogers. It's short and Rogers is driving, but straight off the non-striker and Jacob Pals' left leg. And it's luckily for the pointers, rolls across to Ross Powell for no run.
Here's Khalid again. Tossing the ball from hand to hand, goes past the umpire, bowls to Rogers, who's going to straight to the man. Straight to the man, Garvey Lake. That is a friendly dismissal. It's like catching practice. He's just gonna say, I'm gonna see if you can hold on to that one.
It was a gift. Both the delivery and the wicket were gifts. It was short by Hughes. It should have been put away. Rogers rocked back, but he couldn't get it over to the left or to the right of the fielder in Garvey Lake. He just hit it straight to him. An easy catch, catching practice. And APL Rogers has to go.
And that's the end of over number 11 as well. End of over number 11. The Pointers will pick up another wicket here. APL Rogers gone. He's going to bring the man Richard Burton to the crease. Some 76 runs for 6 wickets at the end of over number 11.
They're scoring well, but they're losing too many wickets. Way too many wickets.
A quick question for you here, Doc. Do you think the Pointers will bowl out the massive under 100?
No. No. Short answer, no. Because the Razor Massive batting lineup is very long today. Very, very long.
That's an interesting answer. Very interesting answer.
Wright would have batted somewhere around number 5 in previous games. He's now just starting to get padded up. And the 8th wicket is already in the middle.
It's the man Richard Burton batting at number 8.
But it was an opener last year. He's batting at number 8 this year.
The length of the Razor Massive batting lineup is interesting. But the spinners from the Pointers, left-arm spinners in particular, here's Hubbard. Bowls to Pals, who's going to knock this one down the ground. Very good running. Gets a single, easy single. Putting pressure on the fielders early in the over, trying to counter-attack, I should say. Score moves on by 1. And the man Richard Burton on strike for the first time. He's going to be facing Herbert. Just taking his guard. And just looking around. Here is Hubbard. Goes past the umpire, bowls to Burton. It's going to be a dot delivery. So the Pointers spinners certainly playing the game to their pace. Rushing the batsman in terms of going through the overs quickly. The shot run up from the spinners. And they're going to apply a little bit more pressure on Burton. Here is Hubbard again. It's going to be another dot delivery. So you would see a man there, I think it's Newman, who is in a very, very short cover region.
Pretty much playing at silly mid-off.
That's very good bowling there from Hubbard. He's certainly bowling to his field, putting some pressure on the new batsman. And in 2020 cricket, I think we talk a lot about rotating the strike, and we have not seen it today from the Razor Massive besides that second wicket partnership. And it's going to be a single. Pals will get through quite comfortably. Burton just hitting that one behind square, and the batsman will cross through for 1. Scrum now moves on to 78 for 6 in the course of over number 12. And Jacob Pals on strike. Here's Hubbard, bowl to Pals, who is going to sneak another single here. Very, very good run in here from Pals. He's certainly trying to put some pressure on the fielders. And the over comes to an end. End of over number 12, 79 for 6.
Yeah, 79 for 6. And that's what Jacob Pals will have to do. He will have to apply pressure on the fielders, try to rotate the strike with Richard Burton. They're both relatively quick between the wickets. And when boundaries are hard to come by, and they will be hard to come by against the spinners of the Pointers, they are going to have to find different ways to score. And the main way to score right now is to rotate the strike in the middle overs.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And as coaches would always say, as long as you're at the crease, there is an opportunity to get runs. Where it might be by extras or loose deliveries will come, but you just have to spend the time in the middle. You kind of get runs back in the shed. So once you spend time in the middle, the runs will come by. Here's Khalid Hughes continuing, bowls to Pals, he seems to be finding the gap very well. Gets a single.
Typical Jacob Pals style. Not too flashy, just picks the gap and finds runs.
Had the Pointers missed the trick when wickets were falling in clusters to send the man Jacob Pals to the crease to steady it? So sorry, they're massive.
We'll get to that after this delivery.
Here's Khalid. He's going to be bowling to Burton for the first time. Tossing the ball from hand to hand. Carlisle coming from the central polyclinic and goes past the umpire, balls to Burton, who is just knocking this one back on the pitch. No run resulting. Score remains an 80 for 6 in the course of over number 13. Here is Carlisle Hughes again. Goes past the umpire, balls to Burton, who is unable to find the gap again. And another dot deliver resulting. So the trick from the pointers here is to keep Burton on strike for as long as possible. He's not able to rotate the strike as Jacob Pals, so they could get some dot balls in and try to put some pressure on Pals even at the non-striker's end. Here is Carlisle again. And he misses it completely. But the keeper as well missed that stumping. Burton was halfway down the track.
Drag the manufacturer runs that aren't there right now.
Here is Burton again. Taps away. Carlisle comes in, balls to Burton. He's chipping that one in the air, but in a vacant position. And they're going to get a single. That's all it's going to be. And the man, Jacob Pals, will now be on strike. It's going to be facing up Carlisle Hughes, who's tend to be bowling a very good over so far.
He's been bowling very well throughout this tournament, I must say.
Here is Carlisle Hughes again. Bowls the Pals this time. He's going to drive hard, and it's just going to be a single. Fielder does the work tidy. I think is a man Oliver Walker down there. And the over comes to an end. And of over number 13, 82 for 6.
82 for 6. And going back to your previous point about Jacob Pals, it's been a theme for the Razor Massive for as long as Jacob Pals has been on their roster over the past 2 years. He tends to bat way too far down the order for my liking. Pals, he seems to be a typical middle order batsman, but last year he would have batted very low down the order, and this year once again he's batting at number 7. It's a bit too low for my liking, I must say. Pals, he's that typical middle order batter who comes in and would steady the ship if you lose wickets, so he can rotate the strike in the middle overs. And I must say I would have liked to have seen him come in ahead of maybe an Akeem Charles and save Charles to be a power hitter towards the death overs.
Certainly, I would have agreed to that. But the Razor Massive probably had other plans, thinking that they will go in the attacking mode still. Here's Hubbard. Bowls to Pals, who's getting another single. Seems to be rotating the strike very, very well. Finding the gaps. But the pointers won't mind that single so early in the over. It's a man Richard Burton on strike. He's been struggling to get the ball off the square. And a few dot balls would be asset for the pointers at the moment.
Burton has to find runs. He has to find runs.
Here's Herbert again, goes past the umpire, bowls to Burton. This time he gets a single. And they're going to look to double up here. But they settle for one. Tariq Newman very quick to get off the boundary and preventing that extra run.
Newman is a good fielder. Goes off the mark very quickly there in his boundary position.
Here is Hubbard again to bowl to Pals, who is advancing down the track. It's going to be a half-hearted appeal, but it's a dot delivery. Unmoved the umpire Calvin Hughes. It's a very quiet passage of play here. Pals gets another single. Burton gonna look to come back for the second. It's interesting. Bad throw, and they will result easy couple of runs.
Good running there by the Razor Massives. They ran the first one hard, and it resulted in them putting pressure on the fielder, and his throw was off kilter. 84 for 6. The score 84 for 6 as it's Herbert. Tossing the ball from hand to hand. Now breaks into his run to bowl to Jacob Pals, who's down the track, but he yorked himself there. Came down a bit too far, and he yorked himself. As the pointers, they've really put the restraints. It's 86 for 6, the score. Here comes Herbert to bowl to Pals, down the track and driving straight down the ground, straight as an arrow. What a shot from Jacob Pals. That's 4 runs. Placement to perfection by Jacob Pals. He found the gap between long off and long on. Two good fielders in Northern Lake and Tariq Newman, but they could not get there. 4 runs to Jacob Powell's, the first boundary in a very long time. At the end of the over, a good over in the end for the Razor Massives. It's 90 for 6. 90 for 6 here, and the Pointers, they will have to get back into their groove, because it seems like they've stopped taking wickets the way they would have liked at the rate that they were going at earlier. This partnership of Jacob Powell and Button has just started to get, just started to sprout, I must say. It started to grow just a bit, and they will look to build and continue on for a few overs to get the Razor Massives to that respectable total. The pitch looks good for batting. The pitch does look very good for batting, but we know it does start to dry out later in the day.
Yeah, interesting. You mentioned about the partnership. It's now 14 runs from 18 deliveries. These two seem to be going along nicely. They had the opportunity to rebuild. Now they're gonna try to take over the score, because this is the start of over number 15, I should say. 90 for 6, and it's gonna be the man Carlisle Hughes continuing. He's gonna be bowling to Burton. Burton misses, and the opportunity there for the is going to be a single. Is it a bye?
Well, the point was they are without the regular keeper Randy Gomez, so skipper Leon Lake is filling in behind the stumps once again.
Certainly. Here is the man Carlisle Hughes, goes past the umpire, bowls to Pals, and Pals hits that one straight back to Hughes. No run resulting. Score remains on 91 for 6. 91 for 6 in the course of over number 15. Shot down the ground. It's in the air. The fielder not going to get there, and it's going to be a single. So he seems to be rotating the strike very well, Jacob Pals. Trying to put pressure back on the bowling. Burton on strike. Hughes goes past the umpire, bowls to Burton, who's advancing down the track.
Well.
And he's going to find a gap. Is it?
Well.
The man Carmichael, they're coming around. Nice work. Very, very quick. Coming around nicely. Surprisingly, they only got 1 run.
I think Burton was busy admiring his shot. That's probably the best timing I've seen from Richard Burton for a long time. The ball did get down to mid-wicket quickly, as it's Hughes now to bowl to Jacob Pals. Pals is driving into the offside. This one could be 2. Pals is going to come back, but Richard Burton decided against it. He wanted to strike. They will only get a single, but that should have been 2 runs. The fielder slipped as well when collecting the ball. So his throw came in on about 3 bounces.
Certainly not good running there from the man, Richard Burton. Just settling too early. Had you run the first run hard, would have been an easy, comfortable couple of runs.
Deep leg side field. Long on, mid-wicket and a square leg all back on the leg side, as well as a long off and a deep cover. Hughes to Burton. Burton is yorking himself, but he gets it past the bowler and down to the long on boundary to Oliver Walker for a single. At the end of the over as well, it's 95 for 6 at the end of 15.
End of over number 15, 95 for 6. These two guys seem to be going well, rotating the strike. Good partnership, some 19 runs there in 24 deliveries. These two seems to be going along quite well.
Yeah, so they are going on a very decent rate. 95 for 6 the score, and they're going along quite well, these two. At the end of 15, it's 95 for 6. Is getting our scores correct all across the board. It is 95 for 6 at the end of 15.
And what is very interesting, Doc, is that last 5 over period. We know that's where teams tend to accelerate, but the Razor Massive losing so much wicket in the first 15 overs. They don't have all that batting to depend on to get that power stroke, you believe?
Well, they do have Keith Harrigan in the shed, I believe. And, well, they have one of the Harrogans in the shed still. Just trying to get a sneak peek down there. They have one of the Harrogans down in the shed. And we know those Harrigan boys possess some power.
Indeed. And it's going to be Herbert to continue. Bowling to Burton. Burton just nudging this one down the ground. Going to be an easy single. The Pointers won't mind those singles.
Well, that was thrown away. That was carelessly thrown away. And they will get an extra run, an unnecessary extra run, I must say.
That is poor cricketing. Very, very poor cricketing. Should have just been a regulation single. The batsman settled for the single, but then the fielder, not sure what happened.
Walker is disappointed with his bowler because he didn't try to stop it and nobody backed up. Poor cricket all around by the Pointers. Herbert again to Burton. Burton getting a leading edge, but trickling down to backward point for Noro Omari Banks does the fielding. 97 for 6, 97 for 6 in the course of this, the 16th over. As pause in play as the wicketkeeper's hat fell off. Also, you usually see a wicketkeeper keeping in a hat to a spinner. But it's Herbert down, and Burton is down the track. And Garvey misfields, so they get a single. Score moves on by 1 to 98. 98 for 6. Good partnership thus far between Burton and Pals. The field is shifting over to accommodate the right-hander.
Yes, indeed. Very, very good partnership from these two.
As Herbert is in now to bowl to Jacob Pals. And to this delivery, Pals is down the track. Inside edge onto his pad. And straight back down to the bowler for no run. Again, the timing he wanted there. Herbert and again to bowl to Pals. Pals is clipping it straight to the fielder at a short mid-wicket. Tariq Newman. No run. That's the end of the over. A good over by Andrew Herbert. Just 3 off it. It's 98 for 6.
Yeah, and something I've realized from Pals and Burton, these two batsmen are the only two to really use their feet. The other batsmen just wait on the ball. These two seems to be advancing down the track regularly to the spinners, and it seems to be working for them.
Yeah, so what going on the track does is that it negates a turn and bounce. Because if you meet the ball before it's a chance to do anything off the surface, and then it will make it a lot easier for you. But the risk reward is if the bowler pulls back his length, you'll be caught in no man's land. And that's what we've seen has happened a couple of times with Richard Burton. But wicketkeeper Leon Lake just couldn't collect the ball cleanly. Here comes Khaled Hughes. Into bowl to Burton. Burton down the track and striking powerfully down towards the long on. It will be collected there by Oliver Walker. Just a single. Burton, he is starting to open his shoulders a bit, starting to strike the ball a bit more cleanly. So moves on by 1 to 99. 99 for 6 here in the course of this, the 17th over. Khaled Hughes, the left arm spinner. He's very tall, gets a good bit of bounce. Hughes between umpire and stumps around the wicket. The right-hander Jacob Pals. Pals is clipping it in towards the cow corner region. It could be 2, but they will just take 1. The 100 has been raised. It's 100 for 6 now in the course of the 17th over. 100 for 6. Burton back on strike. Khaled Hughes into bowl to Richard Burton. Burton down the track, clipping into the leg side, down towards Andrew Herbert at square leg. They will come back for 2. That's very good running by these two batters. Good shot there by Burton, clipping it into the leg side, into the gap between the mid-wicket and the backward square leg that were in the circle. Not the most orthodox field that you would see. The cover is very straight, I must say. Deep cover, he's very straight. He was into bowl to Burton, clipping it into the leg side, down towards mid-wicket. Carmichael does the fielding. Just 1. Good rotation of the strike. Very good rotation of the strike by these two batters. 103 for 6. 103 for 6. As it's going to be Clyde Hughes once again. Around the wicket to bowl to Jacob Pals until this delivery. Pals is down the track and trying to tug it. It will fall short of the long on field. It's just a single, but that was a bit risky there. He couldn't find the gap that he was looking for. He did a lot straighter than he intended to. It's on to 104 for 6. Good over thus far. 6 off it. But 1 delivery remaining. Here comes Hughes into bowl to Richard Burton. Burton down the track. And it's one off the pad, but they will scamper through for a single. No signal, so that's going to be inside edge off the pad. 1 more run to Burton. That's going to be the end of the over as well. A very good over for the Razor Massives. They are 105 for 6.
105 for 6. Razor Massive certainly putting some pressure back on the Pointers there. You could tell by the body language in the field. Certainly the Pointers are caught flat-footed, and the Razor Massive trying to get to a respectable total. What do you think is a decent total here, Doc? I'm looking at 140.
140 was the exact score that came to mind, given how the surface is playing. But Carmichael still has some overs left, and he's back now. He's been the wicket taker. He's been the danger man, Cheidyn Carmichael. He's bowled 3 overs, 2 for 12 with a wicket maiden. He's been very, very good.
Yeah, yes, indeed. He's been good. And what I think Leon Lake is hoping that Carmichael could do here at this moment is break this partnership and see if they could pick their head into the tail, break this partnership. These two seems to be going along very well. Some 29-run partnership in 36 deliveries. You think they need to pick up the scoring?
But with how fast they scored earlier, I think that it balances out overall. They were going at a searing rate earlier with Richardson and Kenroy David, I believe. They were going at a very good scoring rate, going at about 200.
Yes, indeed. Very good scoring.
Here comes Carmichael into bowl to Richard Burton around the wicket, and Burton is driving it down towards the extra cover region. This one should be 2, and they will come back for 2. That's good running by Pals and Burton. Burton found the gap well there. He's starting to check the strike a bit better, Richard Burton. Picking the gaps a lot more. He's starting to get into his innings now. Typical Richard Burton, very slow starter. But he does start to rotate the strike as he gets his eye in, as you would say. As he gets a bit more accustomed to the playing conditions and such. A deep cover and they long off deep on the offside. No fielder deep behind the point. Burton is driving it powerfully again into extra cover. Once again, this should be 2, and once again, it will be 2. Good batting by Burton. If you can't score boundaries, get the 2s, get the 3s, get multiple runs for your stroke. Good placement, good value for the strokes over Richard Burton.
Yeah, Burton seems to be finding the gap well and getting the result that his team needed. As long as the scorecard keeps on ticking over, the Razor Massive will appreciate that.
They're on to 109 for 6. Here comes Carmichael into bowl into Richard Burton, and this one is short. Burton pulls it behind square. There's nobody deep there. That's going to be 4 runs. A gift, I must say, by Cheidyn Carmichael, and 4 good runs to Richard Burton. It was short by Carmichael, not enough pace to trouble Burton. And he was able to just rock back and place it well behind the square. They had the man halfway back behind the square, but he wasn't fully back. Had he been on the boundary, he would have been able to cut it off. But he was 3/4 of the way back, and that may have cost his team a run. Well, probably 3 runs.
But it's an interesting field setting with the left arm spinner turning the ball into the left-hander with 5 fielders out on the offside. I think the majority needs to be on the leg side.
They have a 5-4 field. It should be a 4-5 in my opinion.
So, the captain from the Pointers, Leon Lake, livid with his fielders.
They've now moved the man from 3/4 of the way back, all the way back onto the boundary. It's a very large gap, a huge gap between the mid-wicket and the deep backward square leg. Carmichael into bowl to Richard Burton. Burton is driving powerfully, but straight to long on. It will be a single. 114, the score moves on to 114 for 6. 114 for 6. In the course of this, the 18th over. Another good over thus far for Cheidyn Carmichael. May have ruined his fingers a touch. He had 2 for 12 earlier. Now he's already gone from 12 to 21. Gone for 9 so far in the over. Carmichael into bowl to Jacob Piles. And Piles is wrapped on the pads there, half out to the peel. They will scamper through for a leg bye. And there should be one delivery left in the over. The music is on a bit early.
No sign.
Well, there was no sign, but the umpire didn't signal leg bye, so I guess it's a run to Jacob Piles. Looked like leg byes to me, but I guess an inside edge onto the pad. Field is being shifted, mid-wicket being brought a bit square up, but more to deep forward mid-wicket. As here comes, this one is skied. It is going to drop right in between the long off fielder and the short extra cover, and they will get 2 runs. Disappointing end to Cheidyn Carmichael's spell. At the end of the over, good over for the Razor Massive. It's 117 for 6.
Yes, indeed, that was a very, very good over from the Razor Massive. Putting the pressure on the best bowler on the day. Cheidyn Carmichael would have gone for some runs in that last over he bowled, and the rate was set by the man Richard Burton very early in the over, finding the gaps, not really getting the boundaries but getting the twos, forced the bowler to change his line, and he went a bit closer to him. Then he hit him behind square, got another boundary, and it was gone from there. And that last delivery there just falling in no man's land, and the over number 18 comes to an end. 117 for 6. A very, very good partnership indeed. We said they need to pick up the rate. Now the partnership is 41 from 42 deliveries.
It's a very good partnership for these two batters. They had to have a good partnership, and they did have a good partnership. It's going to be Northern Lake now picking up the attack from the St. John Polyclinic in for his second spell. He has bowled 2 overs. He's 1 for 16, I believe.
Yeah, 2 overs, 1 for 16. His first over would have gone for a lot of runs, and then he pulled it back nicely in his second over. But with these two guys well settled, going well, Burton 30 of 25, Jacob Piles 20 of 25.
123 for 6? No, it shouldn't be 123 for 6. It's 117 for 6. So here comes Northern Lake into bowl to Jacob Piles down the track, driven straight down the ground. Good fielding down there, but they will come back for the second run. Goes on by 2. .119 is the score. 119 for 6. Again, just getting our scores crossed. So we are correct now. Piles gets down. There's a man coming in off the boundary. It will drop short of him. Score moves on to 120. 120 for 6 here in the course of this, the 19th over. It's 120 for 6 in the 19th over. 120 for 6. As it's going to be a Northern Lake. Let's see, couple players from the Farrington making their way into the ground. They will play next, the Farrington, coming up against the Stony Ground Beamers. Burton down the track, turning it into the leg side. It's going to be a single. 121 for 6 in this, the 19th over. 3 overs gone in this 19th over. It's 121 for 6. Northern Lake right arm off spinner. And I will have to ask, Northern Lake, he has been your premier spinner from the time that this APL started from last year. Why is he just bowling 3 overs?
That's interesting.
Lake into bowl to Jacob Pals. Pals is going over the offside. It's going to drop in between the short extra and the deep cover fielder. Just a single. Moves on to 122 for 6. 122 for 6. It's over for Northern Lake. 5 off it thus far. 2 deliveries left. Lake to bowl to Burton. Flighted Burton down the track in towards the leg side. It's going to be just a single. They were looking for 2, but that would have been suicidal. Pals back on to strike, the right-handed batter. He's played well thus far, Jacob Pals. He has 24 from a 28. Full toss, a gift, and Pals dismisses it into the boundary for 4. Almost stopped there by, I think it's Solomon down at the mid-wicket boundary, but it was hit way too powerfully. 4 more runs to Jacob Pals.
26 from 29 balls. Great batting by Jacob Pals.
He's up to 28 from 29 at the end of 19, 127 for 6.
It's 126.
And the 50 partnership comes up as well. 51 from 48 deliveries. This is a very, very good partnership for the Razor Massive. The man Richard Burton and Jacob Pals holding it together here for the Razor Massive. Very, very good comeback here for the Razor Massive after losing wickets in clusters. It's going to be the last over, and it's going to be the man Tariq Newman. He's been very difficult to get away in the tournament so far, but the Razor Massive this game has took a liking to him.
I have to reiterate my point. If Northern Lake is your best bowler, why does he just get 3 overs in the innings in your semi-final?
And the likes of Umari Banks not even bowling a delivery, not even an over.
I don't think, I suspect that Umari may not have wanted to bowl, because we know that usually when he is here, he's bowling and batting. It's going to be Tariq Newman, the left arm off spinner. Be bowling to Richard Burton. Deep leg side field to Burton. Newman to Burton. Burton pulling it down towards the square leg boundary. Fielding is done by Lake. Just a single. Score moves on by 1 to 128. In the course of this, the final over. 128 for 6. It's been a solid innings for the Razor Massives, all things considered.
Very good innings indeed from these two. Putting the pressure on the pointers. And could get to the respectable total of 130, 135, 140.
Partnership is 52 from 49. Pals skies it. Feel the settling, and he does not drop anything, Khalid Hughes. He takes it, and Jacob Pals' innings has to go. Caught by Hughes, bowled by Tariq Newman. Khalid Hughes does not drop anything. And once again, he held on. It's going to be Rolando Wright who will be coming in. Wright. He will look to score some boundaries and score them quickly. He has 4 balls, but it will be Richard Burton on strike. So the innings by Jacob Pals, he went for, I believe, 28. I believe he went for 28. And the 50 partnership has been broken. They would have wanted this partnership broken maybe 3 or 4 overs ago. But it is broken now. And Burton, he will have to keep scoring. Have to keep scoring quickly. He's been getting into his innings. He's been getting deeper and deeper into his innings. And he's been scoring a lot more quickly, going at about a strike rate of 100. So right the new man, Burton the man on strike. Burton the man on strike. He is 27 of 27. Newman into bowl to Richard Burton. Burton down the track and pulling into that leg side gap. Fielder comes across quickly. They're going to get a second run as well. Good bit of running as it was a misfield out there on the boundary, but it looked like Rion Solomon. The misfield means that it is going to be the 2 runs. Burton back on the strike. 130 has been raised. 130 for 7. He had 110 off the last 3 to get to 140. Newman into ball to Richard Burton. Burton down the track. He is pushing into the leg side. It will be just a single. 131. Burton is 29 from 28. Well, he's now 30 from 29. And right for the first time he's on the strike. 131 for 7. 131 for 7. Here comes Newman into ball to right. Right is going to get this one off the pad. A bail and appeal goes up by Newman. It's going to be leg buys. 132. So they will not get to 140, but a big shot could get them to 138. Unless there is, of course, a no ball or a wide. Here comes Newman into ball to Richard Burton. Burton down the track, swinging this one off the outer portion of the bat. They're going to come back and righties left his bat at the striker's end and run the other run without his bat. But they do get 2 at the end of the innings. A good innings, all things considered, for the Razor Massives. They end on 134 for 7. 134 for 7. A good bit of batting by the Razor Massives. After losing those 3 wickets very, very quickly, they were able to get themselves back on track with that partnership, that 50 partnership between Richard Burton and Jacob Powles, and get themselves to a very, very competitive total, 134 for 7.
134 for 7.
Burton finishes on 32 from 30. And 32 from 30. A very good innings for Richard Burton. On his typical style of innings, playing a lot more aggressively than I would have seen him previously.
They will have to defend their 134. And it's all up for grabs.
And the Razor Massives will be very grateful for this Richard Burton innings. Him and Jacob Powles were on a very good partnership before Powles fell in the final over. Caught by Khalid Hughes and a ball by Tariq Newman. But the Razor Massive, this side for the Razor Massive, I must say, it looks a whole lot more balanced. But the question is, who's going to wicket keep for them? Because they've used a number of wicket keepers, and 3 of the 4 of them that they've used are on their side today. They have Keithstone Richardson, they have Akimel, and Alkins Rogers. And all 3 of them have wicket kept for them this season. So which one will they opt to use behind the stumps? Because they're, what should I say, out and out wicket keeper Solomon Bokaran has only appeared once this season. He's their most natural out and out wicket keeper. But Akimel and Alric, as well as Keithstone, they've all done a very good job behind the stumps for the Razor Massives. It will be interesting to see which one they opt to use. I must decide for the Massives, it looks a whole lot more balanced. It does look a lot more balanced. They have batting, they have bowling, and the bowling attack will of course be led by Rolando Wright. Wright, the spinner, is a dangerous bowler, he's a wicket-taking bowler. But they also have his partner in crime, as I would like to call him, Raheem Charles. The 2 spinners for the Razor Massives, and they also have the pace of Ken Roy David and the pace of Sherwin Peters. And they also have the leg spin of Richard Burton as well. So they have a very balanced bowling attack, I must say. A very, very balanced bowling attack. And they also have Jacob Pauls. Pauls bowls some very good soul balls in the middle overs and at the depth. And it provides good balance to their side. Very good balance. A very balanced side, I must say, for the Risen Massives today. The side looks very good on paper. And we'll have to see how it plays out. How it plays out in the game. Their batting has gone to plan, I must say. The batting has gone to plan. We'll see how their bowling shapes out. While for the pointers, they have that man Amari Banks. The one game he played early in the season, went for a first ball duck. Can he redeem himself today? Beyond Amari Banks, they have Oliver Walker who's back. They have Ross Powell. What a talent he is. What a batsman he is. They have Tariq Newman. A very, very good batting lineup. The pointers. And will they opt to go once again to that Northern League experiment at the top? It worked for them well their last game. It scored about 30 odd. So will they opt to go to that Northern League experiment at the top of the innings once again? I suspect they might look to go to Northern League at the top. He may open with Newman. They'll allow Banks and Ross Powell to come in the middle overs. But one thing that I wouldn't advise for them is, well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't advise, but one thing I'm not too sure about is Leon Lake. He's been dreadfully out of form this season. But last game he batted at 4 of 3, if I remember correctly. And he didn't trouble the score as much. Scored about 7 runs. About 10 deliveries, and then went back to the shed. And after wicket keeping all day, I don't know if he'll be able to bat high up the innings like he did last innings for the pointers. So they will have to look to Banks and Powell and Newman to do the majority of their scoring, as well as Oliver Walker. The batting lineup looks deep on paper because we haven't even mentioned Garvey Lake, the power-hitting right-arm batsman. He strikes the ball a far distance. He hits the ball very far and very hard. When he connects with it and connects with it well, he'll have to stay in form. Because we've seen glimpses of it. We've seen the glimpses, but we haven't seen the full Garvey Lake experience. It looks like it's Keithstone Richardson who's going to be wicket keeping today. Of course, they've used the Rogers brothers behind the stumps. So it's going to be Keithstone Richardson behind the stumps today. It looks like he has on the helmet and the pads, and the gloves are tucked under his arm. It looks like he will be doing the wicket keeping. Out. Over in the regional side of things, just on the Barbados women up in the Commonwealth Games, they would have pulled off a victory against Pakistan's women. There was some notions going into the tournament in the Commonwealth Games that the Barbados team was just there to make up the numbers, but a team that's led by the West Indies captain Haley Matthews, they put on a very good batting performance. They would have gotten to about 144 for 4. And restricted Pakistanis to about 120 odd. A very good all-round performance done by Kaisia Knight, who scored about a 61 or something like that. And then Haley Matthews chipped in with a half century of her own. And then the bowling was done by Shemilia Connell, who picked up wickets early in the power play to get the Pakistan main batters out quickly and force them to consolidate for the full innings. So a very good all-round performance by the West Indies women, represented by Barbados.
Batting and feeling. We did display some good skill out there with the Pakistanis as well. And we know traditionally that our women team here in the Caribbean just started, and the up and up, they just started started and having been able to go to the Commonwealth in Barbados, representing instead of the Caribbean, so to speak, I thought they really played some good cricket and really did themselves well.
Earlier today, we saw a brilliant innings by Sikandar Raza for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe would have beaten Bangladesh quite comfortably. Raza with a brilliant innings. Something we typically see from Sikandar Raza. But he was able to get himself up and into it was a very powerful innings by Raza. Scored 65 from just 26 deliveries. I don't think I've ever seen that from Sikandar Raza, as well as Wesley Madveer. He scored a 67 off 46, support Raza well. And it was a very good bowling performance from Zimbabweans as well. Sean Williams, very economical, very miserly. And the man Wellington Masakatsa. That Masakatsa name, of course, in Zimbabwe, it's a historic name, of course, you know. The man Hamilton Masakatsa would have been a very good servant to Zimbabwean cricket. But it was Wellington today who picked up 1 wicket for 23, very economical bowling, as well as Luke Youngway who picked up 2 wickets for 34. It's a very good bowling, very good performance overall by Zimbabwe. And they were able to defeat Bangladesh, a Bangladesh team that have looked a bit out of sorts in recent times in the white ball format, apart from coming to the West Indies and completely dismissing the West Indies. They seem to have looked a bit out of sorts in the white ball format. And we've seen earlier in the week a game I've been trying to avoid talking about, the West Indies in India. West Indies with what I must say was a relatively poor, a very poor batting display. They got absolutely nothing from their batting order. A batting order that had so much promise going into this series with India. With the likes of Shimron Hetmeyer coming back into the setup. With Hetmeyer being back, you would have thought that they would have a much deeper looking batting lineup, but they were only able to crawl to 122 for 8 in search of 190 for victory. It was a brilliant innings, first off at the top by Rohit Sharma, who scored 64, and then Janish Karthik with a 19 ball 41 got into 190 for 6. This was despite Akeem Hussein's miserly 1 for 14 and Obed McCoy economical 1 for 30. And then the batting, absolutely nothing to speak of. Absolutely nothing. 15, 20, Duck, 18, 14, 14, 11, Duck, 19, 5.
Well, Doc, you talk about the West Indies, it just keeps you scratching your head. And if there's any here, you might lose all those here in a matter of time, because sometimes when you really look at the way they play, it's as if they are just novices to the game, actually. And they were going along very nicely. Should have at least restricted the Indians to at least maybe 150, 160, but losing, giving it away in the remaining overs, we saw where a missed chance for a run out went a begging. You would want to really think if they have got it switched on continually, and then we see where they would have lost their first wicket, and then they would have sent Jason Holder up. That didn't make much sense to me, really. And I thought the strategy that they used was all at sea, and they ended up losing and losing badly as they continue heading into a World Cup. We see as we head back here to the James Ronald Webster's Park, where the Razor Massive, they would have put up a score of 134 for some 7 wickets off their 20 overs. They will be in the field this time. We've seen the 2 openers out there, in that of Omari Banks and the player wearing the number 22 and his jersey there for the Pointers. And as we just about to get started here it will be the pointers chasing 134 set by the Razor Massive, 135 for victory, and they will be opening the batting with that of Omari Banks and Newman. Yes, so they are the ones who will be taking first knock of the second half of this four semi-finals. Remember, later on we will have the defending champions, the Farrington Super Sixers versus the Beamers. That will be certainly an interesting one as well. As I say, welcome back, Doc. We are looking for an interesting encounter here this afternoon.
I don't bet.
It's going to be Wright who's going to be opening the bowling. Rolando Bob Wright, the spinner, the left arm spinner. He'll be taking up the bowling attack. He'll be opening the bowling for the Razor Massive. Newman and Banks, the openers. Newman taking first strike. It's going to be right into ball to Newman. Short first ball, but he can only cut it straight back down to the bowler for no run. First ball is a dot. Right, again short, but it stayed low and Newman tried to pull. Was completely beaten there. Yet again, no run. Two dots thus far. This one is played into the offside. Good fielding there. Yet again, no run. Three dots to start the over. It's the Pointers in search of 135 for victory. Here comes right into ball to Newman. Push straight back down the ground. Fielded by the wicket keeper. Yet again, no run. Good over thus far by Wright. His length has been good. Not full enough to drive, not short enough to pull. Right once again to Newman. Cut away. And it gets past Alkins Rogers there at third man. It's going to go close to the boundary. And it's going to go into the boundary for four. A good shot there by Newman. Got back quickly. And he was able to cut it past the diving fielder at third man for 4 runs.
Yes, 4 good runs there as the Blind Point Pointers have gotten their innings off, or their chase actually off, after receiving some 4 dot ball. Was able to put that one past Rogers there for 4 runs.
Right, he got a bit too wide there. His line straight. A long on and a deep mid-wicket. Here comes right to bowl to Newman. Pushing straight back down to the bowler for no run. That's the end of the first over. And at the end of 1, it's 4 without loss.
So, good start there from both teams actually. That of Wright, who would have opened their bowling from the Central Polyclinic, and their bowling to Newman, keeping him in check. Was able to just push one past the fielder there, and out of Rogers, and getting four good runs. But circumspect for the most part there by Wright, keeping the batter in check and making sure that he did not concede any more runs. So this is going to be an interesting encounter between these two teams. The Razor Massive, they have looked very energetic in the field, as well as they defend the 134 runs that they would have scored at their turn at bat.
Peters with sharing the new ball with Wright. Peters, the right-arm medium pacer. He's been bowling with the new ball pretty much all tournament. He opens the batting and he opens the bowling for the Razor Massive. A 5-4 field on the, well, a 5-3 field, 6-3 field as you would call it. And so there's a slip in place. A third man going with more towards a deep backward point. Peters into bowled Omari Banks, and Banks is covering up first ball, no runner. Last time he played, he got a first ball duck, and so this time he's going to prevent anything like that from happening.
Yes, certainly. Certainly be feeling good that he would have actually put bat to ball there, because when he did turn out earlier on, it was back to the pavilion quickly.
Didn't even trouble the scorer. Peters into balls Omari Banks, and Peters, he is going to reload that one. There are dead balls signaled by the umpire. Umpire Calvin Hughes there. Four without loss. All 4 runs going to Newman. So it's going to be Peters. This one is going to be a wide called and signal. Banks going for a big drive, but it was well outside the line of the off stump. Five to score. Here comes Peters into bowl to Omari Banks. Banks is back, pushing it down towards the deep backward point region. Just a single. Banks has his first run of the tournament. So moves on to 6 without loss. 6 without loss as it's going to bring Tariq Newman back to strike for the first time today, facing Cheidyn Peters. First time facing Peters, the left-hander in Tariq Newman. Deep third man, deep cover, 2 men out. Finally coming into the circle. Peters over the wicket into ball to Tariq Newman. Short. Newman trying to cut. It's going to be a wide call and signaled by the umpire. It's another wide bowled by Peters. That's 2 in the over. We saw in the innings of the Pointers, they barely bowled any extras, barely bowled any wides at all. Just a couple from Carmichael, I believe.
Yes, at the latter stages of the innings, actually. So good discipline on the part of the Razor Massive. Here is Peters.
Peters into bowl to Tariq Newman. This one he's trying to cut straight to right. No run. Just three deliveries off the over, 3 legal deliveries. We've had 2 wides bowl in the over.
It's a pretty long over there from Peters, and he has got a pretty extensive run-up as well, and so it takes him some time.
Showing Peters. Right arm over the wicket to bowl to Tariq Newman. Newman is pushing into the offside. Once again, no run. Newman is frustrated, but it's another dot ball.
And you can tell
7.
Newman he won't get Banks running for nothing. Yes.
He's not going to get Omari Banks to run at all. Banks is going to say, I'm a bit too old for that right now. The legs aren't what they used to be. 7 without loss. Showing Peters Into ball to Tariq Newman. Newman is tugging it into the leg side. Sean Hodge does the fielding, and no run. Trying to go across the line there, a naughty shot by Newman. Didn't make good contact. It's the short fine leg mid-wicket and the mid-on the onside. A mid-off, extra cover, deep cover point. And now the third man comes into the ring. The long on goes into position. Peters. Into ball to Tariq Newman. Newman is getting this one and pushing it straight to short third man for no run. Got over by Sherwin Peters. It's at the end of the over 7 without loss.
Yes, good over there from Sherwin Peters. Pretty lengthy one with the run-up and those 2 no balls. But aside from that, just giving away the solitary single. And we're seeing we're mid-pitch conference there between Newman and Banks, maybe just trying to strategize as to see how they are to approach getting these runs in terms of their running between the wickets. They started off needing to score 6.75 runs and over, and so far they've got 7 from 2 overs. And they certainly would look to make sure that they don't lose all the wickets here in their chase in getting these runs. The Razor Massive, on the other hand, will certainly try to sustain the start, the pressure, and to stem the flow of runs. Certainly stark contrast to how they would have started in their innings down.
Definitely so. All right, to continue. Right into ball to Banks. Banks is driving it. It's fielded there, but it ricochets off his body down to long off. It will be a single. Banks moves on to 2. The score moves on to 8. Without loss, as it's Newman on the strike. Left-hander to left-hander. Right, over the wicket to ball to Tariq Newman. His delivery, Newman is just pushing it straight back to the bowler for no run. Long on, deep mid-wicket in place. Right, from the polyconic end into ball to Newman. Newman is back and slugging it into the gap. He will get 4. He got down well, got onto one knee and slugged it away. Over mid-wicket, couple bounces into the rope, 4 runs.
Yes, good shot there from Newman, and right there, been given the treatment as well. Maybe Wright is saying, well, I might need to maybe look to put some ball over the boundaries, and I'll be able to get a lot of singles here, and so treated that one with disdain. The fielder there, Rogers, couldn't get to it. Ball sped away quickly into the boundary for 4 runs.
Here comes right to the ball to Newman. Newman is back and cutting straight to Captain Ashawn. Stops it partially, keeps it in front of him. Dot ball.
Again, and Wright is throwing his hands, saying that again should have been a single. Banks there put up that.
Here comes Newman. Newman beaten outside the line of the off stump. Good ball by Wright. A bit of spin there. Getting a bit of spin. Completely beating Newman outside the line of the off stump. Here comes Wright to ball to Newman. It's short. Newman dismisses it down towards the cow corner region. 4 more runs. Poor bowling up by Wright. That was short. And Newman said, thank you very much. That's a gift.
Yes, the end of the over, 16 without loss. Again, Newman gonna have a mid-pitch conference, and you will see Hughes probably just carrying a message out between the 2 batters. As we see, Newman is certainly getting a bit frustrated, not having the singles that he feel that he should have, but he certainly need to just take his calm, cool of himself and look to try to see whether or not he can push the pointers team as close to the score as much as possible. Again, we want to thank all of our sponsors for making this adventure possible. The Anguilla Premier T20 cricket tournament for 2022 into the final stages, the business stage, and its first semi-finals. That's the Razor Massive coming up against the Blowing Point Pointers. And to all the sponsors who have made this possible, we say thank you as we continue with, is that going to be Peters for his second over? Doc.
Peters in the ball, his second over. First over just went to 3. 16 without loss. As the fourth over is going to commence. Field being shifted. Captain Sean Hodge goes into slip. It's Peters in the ball to Banks. Banks is wrapped on the pad there. Loud appeal goes up. Not out, says the umpire. Seems to be a bit of height. Banks is very tall. I struck him high on the knee roll. I think height was the main issue there.
Certainly could be, as we try to just look at our replays here. Peters walks back to his mark. And Banks is...
It's going to be Peters now. Turns into his run past the umpire to bowl to Omari Banks. And Banks is driving it straight to mid-off. No run. Good feeling there, but looks like Akeem Charles.
Good shot, but straight to the fielder there. Maybe just trying to release the shackles just a bit, Doc, as he has not been as prolific as he would want to be, and they certainly won't want to at least soak up too many balls in chasing 134.
Peters into his runner. Now into ball to Omari Banks. And to this delivery, Banks is getting a Yorker that he's digging out. It will trickle down to mid-on for a single. Banks moves on to 3 and it brings Tarek Newman on to strike. The field will shift over to accommodate the left-hander as Peters goes back to his mark. Slip in place as well for Tarek Newman. Don't know if Peters is getting any movement off the surface. I'm not seeing any balls really fly past the bat to be able to tell whether he's getting that much swing or not. A deep third man, a deep cover. The 2 men out of the ring. Looking at that shot for an LBW, yes, it seemed to be height was the question there. Peters on the ball to Newman. Newman is driving straight back to the bowler. No run. Newman not timing it quite well so far. Been a couple power-filled strokes, but his timing has not quite been at its premium. Looking at the Yorker there, Banks did well to dig it out because it had a bit of inward tail towards it. It was going back in towards his toes. He did well to get the bat down and dig it out and get a single. Sherwin Peters, sorry, not Sherman Peters, Sherwin Peters.
Yes, he's got a...
Into his runner. Now into ball to Tarek Newman. As it's going to be pushed into the offside. Single. The field will now shift over for the right-handed Banks. Newman is 13, Banks is 3. The score is 18 without loss. Yes, it is 18 without loss. As you see some Stony Ground guys and some Farrington guys making their way into the ground. Banks going for a big shot. He will get this one over the head of mid-on. Will it get to the boundary? No, it will. Not good feeling there by Akeem Charles. Just 2. A good idea by the Razor Massives to get one of their mid-on and mid-off fielders out of the ring. They put the long off in place. Banks tried to go over the top, but couldn't get 4. He just got 2. He moves to 5. At the end of the over, it's 20 without loss.
Yes, 20 without loss. As I say good afternoon to one of our fellow commentators. Good afternoon, Zulma. You'll hear her in just a tidbit. Good to have you in on this beautiful Saturday. But we are building into a really good match here this afternoon. Doc, it's 4 overs have completed. The blowing point pointers just going at 5 runs and over, having to score 6.75, and their chase to really take this match and see themselves into the semi-finals. But so far, the Farrington fielders, they're very sharp, very well set in the field, and we've seen some good, tight, competitive bowling and batting here this afternoon. This is going to be a good match as well.
All right, we'll continue. He'll bowl his 3rd.
Right is on his 3rd over. Banks on 5. Newman is facing.
Banks is 5, Newman is 13. 20 without loss. Into the 5th over. Right into Bolton Newman. It's short. Newman pulls it. It's high. Man coming in. Completely overruns it. He completely overran it. And it will be 4. Should have been out. Newman should have been gone. But it's 4.
Rogers down there making a real mess of it, coming in and trying to settle himself. As we can see, a field change is going to be made here. Maybe saying, okay, let's get Rogers in. We won't want any more of those going down your throat and you're not able to effect the catch. So we've seen a prompt field change there by the Razor Massive, knowing that 134 is what they've had to defend, and they can ill afford such. Doc,
I think the wind completely deceived him there. Newman tucking into the offside, no run. Against a strong east to west breeze, the ball was continually pushing it out to the boundary, and that caused APL Rogers to overrun that one. Newman driving, missing it. It's going to be no run. Banks signaling to the dugout for something. Like he wants a drink of water. Right, into bowl to Tariq Newman. Newman is pushing into the offside. Yet again, no run. It's 24. Newman is 17. 24 without loss. Right into bowl to Newman. Newman is driving into the offside towards mid-off. Slight misfield, but it will not cost them any more than the already taken single. So moves on to 25. A lot of dot balls thus far in the innings, I must say. Strike rotation has not been at its premium. Murray Banks on to strike now. Banks is on 5. Banks is 5, Newman is 18. And there have been 2 wides as well, bowled by Peters. Here comes right into bowl to Murray Banks. Banks is pushing into the offside. Wants a single, but he will not take it. That will be the end of the over. At the end of 5, 25 without loss.
Yes, 25 without loss, and you mentioned those dot balls as well. some between 17, 18 dot balls out of the 30 they have received so far after over number 5. Still just going at a tad of 5 and over, just in touching distance. And another mid-pit water break, mini water break, so to speak, for the batters. Very hot and humid out there. Have a not a stiffer breeze as we're accustomed to for the cooling of the players. So we've seen a lot of short water breaks there, especially from the batters. And I think that should have been a single there, though, Doc, that the Banks did refuse, and would certainly not the way you would want to go in chasing 134. Might say, well, that's not much, many, but they're certainly making heavy work of it, just having only scored 25 out of that 135 runs that they need for victory. So would certainly need to look to push on here after they start, Doc.
Well, this is something that we've not seen before. Kenroy David bowling in the power play. David, the right arm medium pace bowler, usually comes in to bowl at the death. He's usually the death bowler, but with Jacob Piles into the side now, it will afford for David to be used a lot higher up the innings. David to bowl the last over of the power play. Here comes David. Right arm around the wicket to bowl to Newman. Newman tucking it into the leg side. There's no one there at square leg, so Button has to come across from fine leg to do the fielding. It is just a single. Newman on to 19. This goes on to 26. 26 without loss in the course of over number 6. They'll either get off to a quicker start. They would have wanted to get off to a quicker start than most of the pointers. They've been very restrained by the Razor Massives bowling attack so far. And they still have a couple spinners left to bowl. So they have Akeem Charles and they still have Richard Burton to bowl. Here comes David to bowl to Omari Banks. Banks is driving it straight to short mid-wicket. Captain Ashawn Hodge does the fielding. It's going to be no run. Very restrictive bowling. That's what Kenroy David does. He's a death bowler. Restricts runs, picks up wickets. David into bowl to Banks. This one is off the pad, going down the leg side. Half out of the peel, but it was always going down leg. It will be a no run once again. Here comes David to bowl to Banks. This one is going to be wide of the off stump. Banks wants a wide. He's not going to get it. Another dot ball for Kenroy David. Very skiddy action. Reminds me a lot of Dwayne Smith when Dwayne Smith used to bowl. Very bustling action and very skiddy. And it's carved away through the offside. That's 4 runs to Omari Banks. A typical Omari Banks shot. And behind the cover point, 4 runs.
Well, certainly got to get a move on. Is Omari Banks. So far in this innings, they have really soaked up some 22 dot balls to my reckoning. And really don't have enough.
Here comes David to bowl to Banks. This one is a much better line, I must say. Bit more on the body, tucking up for room. No runner. At the end of the 6th over, at the end of 6, 5 off it, it's 30. 30 without loss.
So 30 without loss.
End of 6 overs. end of 6 overs is 30 without loss.
Yeah, 30 without loss, sorry, at the end of 6 overs, going at a tick of 5 and over there. So they've got another 105 runs for if they are to see themselves into the finals tomorrow. They have not lost a wicket as yet, but they have used up 6 overs already, and the power play. So didn't make good use of the power play was the blowing point pointers. The Razor Massive, on the other hand, they were helter-skelter, really belting the ball all across the pitch. But we've seen some good tight bowling here by the Razor Massive, some circumspect batting here by these two batters in that of Banks and Newman so far, but they could count themselves well in saying, well, we haven't lost a wicket. We can always push on from here at the end of the halfway stage, depending on where we are at. So it's going to be Barton who will pick up from Newman from the Central Polyclinic end, and he will be bowling to Newman. Here is Barton. Tosses up on the pad, the load of appeal. Ball just hitting the pad and bubbling into the onside. The keeper, Richardson, from behind the stump, fields. No run. Barton to Newman. Here's Barton, leg spin, tosses up again, and Newman probably seeing as if he was seeing it for bigger players as a breadfruit. They're missing everything. Barton there bamboozling Newman somewhat there, and he had a big heave for it, but missed everything, collected there by Richardson behind the stump. And we see some words coming there from that David to Barton, who goes back to his mark. Tosses it from hand to hand. Bowls to Newman. This time he is back and across and just pushes it back down the field gently there to for the bowler to feel off his bowling. Here is Barton again. And umpire signals dead ball. Barton just making sure that all his fielders are in check, bowling to a 5-4 field. He looks up, tosses the ball from hand to hand, flicks. It's Newman, taps away. Here is Barton. Bowls to Newman again on the pads, and just keeping Newman in check, not giving him any room at all. Ball is just doing just a tad bit off the wicket there, and really tucking Newman up there, being able to get the ball away. Keeper runs from behind the wicket, fields. Here is Barton again to Newman. This time Newman just steps to the pitch of it and hits it down to long on for a single. The scores move on to 31 without loss. The pointers chasing a total of 134, needing 135 for victory as the field changes over to the right-handed Omari Banks. And it's going to be Barton on the Polyclinic end, who's bowling a very good over so far. This time he has Omari Banks. Here is Barton. Tosses up, flat, and an inside edge again. And this is some real...
Oh no! Comedy at its finest! At its absolute finest! Both batters stood up in the middle of the wicket Lanville Harrigan misfielded the ball. They decided to not go back to their crease. Omar Banks was caught standing in the middle of the wicket, and by the time he decided to go back, Richard Butler already whipped off the bails.
Well, what a way to lose the wicket. Quite comical there. Also on the batters themselves, Omari set off for a run, Newman set off. They both stopped in mid-pitch and decided to go, but when they did do that, the ball was already gathered there by that Lanville Harrigan, who tosses it into the bowler there in Burton, and he gleefully accepted and took off the bails. I thought that's some very sloppy cricket there on the part of the batters there, Doc.
Well. Not good going at all. Banks came down the track. Newman set off. Banks stopped. Newman stopped. And by the time Banks set off back to the non-striker's end, who's already gone.
Well, I want to think if he had head back the next way, he probably would have been...
Well, it would have been a foot race between
yes.
Banks and Newman to see who made it back to the striker's end.
Some really not good cricket at all. Not good what you would want to see if you're trying to get into the finals, Doc. Here, some real sloppy cricket there on the part of the blowing pointers. As we looked, and here we see again, here is it, Newman
standing, walking, and they are not going. Well, it's going to mean Ross Powell is going to be the man on strike. And Jacob Powell will be taking up the bowling attack. 31 for 1 after 7. 31 for 1 after 7. They require 104 from 78. Required run rate of 8. They're going at 4.43. A very good ball by Richard Burton, just one off it. Powell is going to be the new bowler. We just got our scoring system back up and running.
Yes, Pauls is setting his field. Is that 5-man on the? Is that the left-handed batter there?
Yes, the left-handed Powell.
Offside, yes.
5-man on the offside. 4 on the leg. Powell sent the ball to Ross Powell. Powell is driving it down to long off for a single. Ross Powell is 1 off 1. Newman, he's on strike now. He's 20 from 28. Tariq Newman. The right-handed, the left-handed, 2 left-handers in the wicket. The 2 left-handers are in the wicket, and Ross Powell and Tariq Newman. A deep third man, a deep cover, and a long off the man back on the offside. They also have a deep square leg, well more of a deep backward mid wicket, and a long on. Powell into ball to Newman. Newman driving into the offside. It is going to be just a single. Newman on to 21 from 29. Ross Powell, he's just faced the 1 delivery and has the 1 runner. Pass into ball to Ross Powell. Powell opening the face. A good partial stop. Going for the run out, but the throw was not what he would have wanted there. The man and Kenroy David, it looks like they're at short extra cover. They do get a single. Three runs from 3 balls off the over. Here comes Powell into ball to Tariq Newman. Newman is trying to drive. Missing that one there. No run. 2 balls left in this over. Just 3 off it so far. 34 for 1 here in the course of over number 8. 34 for 1. 101 required from 74. This is shaping up to be a very good game. Piles into ball to Tarek Newman. Newman is whipping it into the leg side. And they are going to get nothing more than a single. The way to the mid-wicket region there by Newman. He moves to 22. Ross Powell is back on to strike. Powell is bowled the... He's faced the 2 balls and gotten 2 runs, Ross Powell. Piles into bowl now to Powell. And the Powell is just touching it barely off the square. Will be a deep. Oh, he's gone! Oh, brilliant! Kenroy, David, that is wonderful! Direct hit, and Tarek Newman has to go.
Well, 2 careless run out there again. The ball was played directly to the fielder. Powell set off. Newman much obliged as well, maybe thinking that he had enough pace and speed to get down to the other end, but good feeling there from the fielder there. Direct hit, and caught Newman short out of his ground, and was putting the Pointers team further back in further setback here as they look to chase this 134 runs that was put on there by the Razor Massive. Spot in the final is at stake here for both of these teams. Oliver Walker, pretty good batter, but has not been, blazing the trail, so to speak. Maybe this is a time for him to really come to the party, Doc, and make sure that he can see his team over the line.
It's no good or better Oliver Walker can be. He would have played first-class cricket in his home in Jamaica, I do believe. So you know how good of a batter Oliver Walker can be. He has not been in his best form this season. Last year he was a premier batsman for the Pointers. But he is not been in his best form. But this would be a time, if any, as you look back at that run out. Newman set off a bit slowly, and David, that was a brilliant direct hit. Newman didn't even put the bat on the ground. Didn't even try to extend the arm, put the bat on the ground to get into his ground.
Yes, and I must say the Razor Massive there looked very, very sharp in the field when compared to some of the matches we would have seen him play this year, Doc. And certainly in with a chance here if they can continue to contain the batters there for the Pointers. They've lost Newman, they've lost Omari Banks, 2 of their more prolific scorers. But it's hard work and some serious work for these 2 players, these 2 batters here today, in that of Powell and Walker.
It's going to be Burton.
If we look at the screen here again and we look at that run out there, that's so comical. Run out that. It's going to be Burton.
Richard Burton to continue. Burton into ball to Powell. Powell covers up. Dot ball. Ross Powell, he is a 2 from 4. Walker yet to face strike. 2 new batters in the middle. 35 for 2 in the course of number 9. In the course of over number 9, it's a 35 for 2. Good arm ball there by Burton. Tucked into the leg side, but no run. Leg side heavy field for the left-handers. Long on, cold corner, mid-wicket, and a deep backward square all on the boundary. Powell going into the offside line. Harrigan does the fielding, topples over, but he prevents the run. Let's have a short mid-wicket in place as well. The Razor Massives. Burton into ball to Ross Powell. Powell clipping it into the leg side, and he will get a single. It's going to bring the right-hander Oliver Walker on the strike. the right hander. The field shifts over slightly. A deep extra cover, deep cover, long on, deep square leg. Here comes Burton to ball to Walker. Flighted up. Walker clips it into the leg side. Alkins Rogers does the fielding. They do get a single. Walker immediately off the mark. He's on to 1 from 1. It's the end of the over. Another good over by Richard Burton. Just 2 off it. It's 37 for 2.
It's 37 for 2. And Burton continue spinning. Not a lot of turn really, but really containing the batters. And we've seen the pointers play throughout the tournament so far. Most of the times they would have came out on top. They would have bowled last. They would have batted first, set a score, and in the end defended it very, very well. Today we've seen them chasing, and they're certainly making heavy work of it. They need to get some 98 runs from the remainder of just remaining overs that's been allotted to them. As we just completed over number 9, we're going into the 10th over now, and there's still some way, some distance back. I'm certainly sure that they will not be happy in the camp there of the pointers, Doc.
Well, at the end of 9, it's 37 for 2. Piles is into ball to Oliver Walker. Walker's clipping it down towards the mid-on region. And they are going to come back for the second run. And that could have been a direct hit. And that would have been even more trouble. Ooh, that was a good effort there by Shawn Peters. Yes. Well, there's 2 runs. Walker moves on to 3. Piles into ball to Oliver Walker. Walker clipping it into the leg side down towards mid-wicket. They're coming back for the second. It's very good running by Powell and Walker.
Yes, they'll certainly need to do a lot more of this. Doc, they're not hitting the boundaries. We saw a flurry of boundaries. Some 4 from Newman, 1 from Banks. And as Walker just pulled away just a little bit, just to clear his eyes. They will certainly need to, at least if they can't get the boundaries, they will certainly need to be pushing for the 2s and the singles wherever they are had.
Here comes pass, the ball to Oliver Walker. Walker driving it powerfully down the ground. This one should be just a single. It is just a single. Good fielding by Akeem Charles. Walker on to 6. Ross Powell, who's on 3, I believe, is back on the strike. Powell is 3 from 7, and Walker 6 off 5 deliveries. 42 for 2 after 9.3 overs. 3 balls left before the drinks break. Jacob Piles. Alright, I'm over the wicket to bowl to Ross Powell. Powell is pulling it down towards long on. It's just a single. Just a single there. Akeem Charles doing the fielding once again. The Massives, they've looked good in the field, I must say. The Island Harbour Razor Massives fielded well. 2 runouts. 2 very good runouts. Here comes Piles, the ball to Oliver Walker. Walker's carving it through the offside. Misfield there by Langville Harrigan. It's just a single. So moves on to 44. 1 delivery left in over number 10. 44 for 2. They blowing pointers. Only just over 4.4 runs and over. It's about to Powell. Powell is driving down the ground for just a single. At the end of 10, they are 45 for 2.
45 for 2. 10 overs have been completed. 45 for 2. DJ.
Well, it's not been the best of going for the Pointers thus far. They still require some 90 runs from 60 deliveries to win this game.
And some distance back of the Razor Massive. The Razor Massive after 10, they were 74 for 5. The Razor Massive was 74 for 5, and so 74 for 5 was the Razor Massive, and some 31 runs ahead. And the Pointers at the halfway stage just scoring 4.5 runs and over, and we're looking to at least set a target of 6.75 to overhaul the 134 runs that was put on there by the Razor Massive. So far they have not acquitted themselves well in chasing this total at all, making heavy weather of it, but they have only lost 2 wickets, and the Razor Massive, they're certainly looking sharp and very well out there in the middle in defending these runs. As I say, good afternoon to Zulma Webster. Welcome to live cricket action here again.
Good afternoon. It's good to be back after a short break, and we're looking at the Pointers versus the Razor Massive, and we would like to bring you up to date with our sponsorship, and we'd like to thank all those persons who continue to follow us and to support us with our sponsorships. We'd like to thank Jerry Suda, Nihar J. Suda, American University of Anguilla, Aurora Resort and Golf Club, Magical Insurance, Carita Walgreen Lindham, Zimmy Beach Hotel, Republic Bank of Anguilla, King Ocean, National Commercial Bank of Anguilla, Sid and Pete's Supermarket, Anguilla Electronics, Safe Cargo, Best Buy Supermarket, Mega Charles 54, Radio Anguilla, Class FM, Lloyd's Live, 97.7 FM Radio, Lakes World, man who will be sponsoring or who have sponsored the man of the match by contributing $1,000 US, and we'd like to see who that person is going to be. And we'd also like to thank Lowell Hodge and Baker Gums. They too are on board with the sponsorship, and it is not too late for you to come on board. Tomorrow is the final, and we're still open for contributions and for sponsorships.
Yes, certainly, Zulma, thank you so much for calling us, mentioning our sponsors, because if it's having not been for them, certainly we won't be here to present to you this tournament. Second time around, second edition of the Anguilla Premier T20 tournament. Between this year we've have ourselves some 5 teams as opposed to the 4 teams last year. The defending champions, they will certainly be doing battle against their semi-finalists last year. That is the Beamers. That's the semi-final number 2. These 2 teams, when they would have met last year, the Pointers, they came out in the 4th spot, having lost to the Razor Massive. This time they're playing for an opportunity to get to the finals, and so far they're making very heavy work at it. The water cart has left the field. Players are back out. It's going to be Richard Burton, who have bowled well so far, 2 overs, and conceded just about 3 runs. Have not gotten a wicket, so to speak, but have really kept the batters in check and really bowled well. He'll be picking up action from the Central Polyclinic end, and he will be bowling to that of Powell. Here's Burton, bowls to Powell, just pushes it back down the track. The bowler himself fields, and that of Burton, and there is no runs. 45 for 2. The crease we've got, here is Burton again, tosses it up, bowls to Powell. He pushes out into the onside. The fielder running around there, that looks like David. Picks up and tosses it back to the bowler, but not before the batsman, the batter there in Powell, could have picked another single up, moving the score to 46 for 2. We're in over number 11, bowled by Burton. Tosses the ball from hand to hand. Tosses balls to that. Yes, David again. Sorry, Powell. Just plays it back down to the bowler. Fields and a little bit disgust with himself, not being able to put away that one. Here is Burton again. Balls to Powell, and powerful pull there, and single, but they had their almost run out chance there. Good work there. That looks like is that Paul's feeling there, feeling very well, and getting the ball into the bowler quickly, but not before Powell would have picked up another single. Move the score on to 47 for 2. Sorry, 48, sorry. Yes, 48 for 2. It will be Burton again. Tosses the ball from hand to hand from the polyclinic and bowls to Walker this time. Walker and punches it over there down to the fielder there. Who is that? Is that fielder, but single had there by the fielder there, the batter there, sorry, in Oliver Walker, and another run to the total, well, 2 runs actually to the total. That moves it to 49 for 2. 49 for 2. Walker picking 50 for 2. 50 for 2. Ball punch into the offside there again. Fields comes around and picks up, and the Fields tosses it in, but not before the batter there in Walker picking up another single. So they are rotating the strike very quickly now. These 2 batters, they probably would have discussed after the water break, and after 11 overs, it's 51 for 2, chasing 135 for victory, the blowing pointers, Zulma.
So we're now into over number 11. I think it's 11, over number 12 rather. And the game continues. Today is a very, very sunny day. We've got a few clouds hanging over the park area, but don't expect any rain this afternoon. However, we invite you to come down here to the Webster Park and watch a very interesting game this afternoon.
Yes, and we've got another exciting one again this afternoon as well. This one has really been a tight, contested match. Beamers, the Razor Massive, sorry. Here is Pauls to Walker. He drives down the onside, picks up there by, is that Charles? Tosses it back in, and the batsman cross for a single, moves the score on to 52 for 2 in over number 12, chasing 135 for victory. Certainly going at a slow rate here. Here is Jacob Pauls, runs away from us, bowls to that Powell. Bowls just plays it back down the track powerfully there, but equal to the task is the bowler there in Jacob Pauls. Fields very well to his own bowling, walks back to his mark. And so they have really kept the batters for the pointers in check. Here is Paul, runs away from us. Number 79 is back, bowls to Powell. He plays it into the offside, and the fielder down here just runs in from the long off boundary. Misfeeling there. I bet that looks like, is that Peters? And the batsman, they cross for 2. So 2 good runs there to Powell. Moves the score on to 54 for 2. Pauls again to Powell. This time he plays this one just over point. Fielder coming off the boundary fields, and 1 run had there by Powell. Moves the score on to 55 for 2 in over number 12, being bowled here by Jacob Pauls. Batted well for the Razor Massive, and good 50-run partnership there, allowing his team to put up a respectable total that they have been defending so far. Here is Paul, runs away from us, bowls to Walker, plays it into the onside, and the fielder just picks up, but Walker jogs for a single. And score moves on to 56 for 2. So they really would need to get a move on it if they really want to pick up these remaining runs. Here's Paul, runs away, bowls to Powell, full toss, it tugs it into the onside. The fielder runs around there from the mid on there and fields, but the batters at the meantime, they picked up 2 good runs there to move the score on to 58 for 2 at the end of over number 12. 58 for 2. The pointers chasing the target set 134, sorry. Need to get 154 to see themselves into the finals. They really have to push things on Zulma if they are to really get to the finals. And I spoke to Leon yesterday. He says straight to the final is where he's going to go, but the Beamers have gotten them in a spot of bother so far in chasing these runs.
Well, we'll have to wait to see that happen. Why not exaggerate that you're going to win this tournament? So moving into over number 13, and the score is at 58 for 2. And if they continue, if the pointers continue at this rate, it is left to be seen.
Yes, they've got just another 8 overs to score some 77 runs. We see where some instruction, I'm certainly sure from the Blowing Point Pointers camp, was relayed there to the 2 batters, as is to say, well, we are running out of time, and they will certainly need to make a move and push things on. There's Burton, who will be bowling his final over. So bowls to well, there's no run there, is it? So it's Burton. He's been very economical here with his over so far. Here's Burton again, bowls to Walker, pushes them past the bowler, the fielder on the mid off boundary, comes and fields, tosses it back to the bowler. Score moves on to 59 for 2. 59 for 2. Over number 13 being bowled by Burton from the Central Polyclinic end. Here he is, tosses the ball from hand to hand, bowls to Newman. Newman swings away, and he's been bowled there by Bolton. They are big heave for missing everything, and Bolton, they're doing a mini cartwheel there, so to speak, in picking up the wicket there of that of Powell for the Beamers, and not the Beamers, the Razor Massive, sorry. The Beamers is due to come up next, but the Razor Massive there at Cockahoo Pier, really picking up wickets at reasonable rate, but so too curtailing the batters here for the Blowing Point Pointers in their chase for 135. Zulma.
These guys are now chasing 135 in order to be in the lead for being the winner of this tournament this afternoon here at the JRWP, and we're heading into over number 13 of this. Over number 13, the score is at 59 for 2.
Well, it's actually 59 for 3, really, and really making heavy weather in this chase here. The Blowing Point Pointers, they didn't get off to a good start at all, as we are just checking the replays here, and Big Heafo bowled all hands up. Bales, middle stump, rock back. They're Bolton really causing some serious trouble here to the Blowing Point Pointers batters. They're not being able to pick him at all. Here is again bowling to the new batter there. It's at Northern Lake, wraps on the pad there, and just a stifle appeal there, but umpire Jacques Webster says not out. Bolton continues again. Gets to his overs very quickly. Here he is again, tosses and bowls to Lake. Lake on just trying to play that one through the offside there, but not making contact. Richardson behind the stumps collects, toss it back to the bowler there in Bolton. Here he is again. Bolton bowls to Lake. This time he pulls down there to the man at mid wicket, and it's going to be a single. Lake getting off the mark. He's on 1 at the end of the over, Bolton, and certainly will be interesting to see his figures, because he has been very miserly here with the 4 overs that's been given to him, really tucking the batters up. They're not able to play him absolutely, and a good spell of bowling there from Bolton there for his team. Razor Massive. In the meantime, the score moves to 60 for 3 after 13 overs. 60 for 3. The Blowing Point Pointers going at a target set 134. There's some 65 runs, 75 runs behind there, and not really doing as well as they really are to be doing here if they are to see themselves in the final zone.
Yes, so they'll have to work pretty hard in order to find themselves in the finals. The score remains at 60 for 3, and of course the total amount of runs needed is 135 in order to be in the victory position this afternoon.
Yes, so it will be Paul's to continue. He's bowling his final over. Here's Paul from the commentators' end, and seeing the hands of the keeper there going up, but just missing everything there was Northern Lake. So we certainly like to see the replay of that one. It's coming off the pad there as Pauls continues. It's bowling to a somewhat of a 4-7 field. Here is Paul's Lake, just chips it over there to the man they're feeling at mid wicket. That looks like Rogers, and he picks up another run. So it's 61 for 3. 61 for 3. Jacob Pauls bowling from the Commentators' end, right here at the James Ronald Webster's Park. Here is Pauls running in, but Walker suggesting that someone is making some movements behind him. See some players there. Here is Pauls, runs away from us to bowl to Walker. Walker pushes into the onside, and the field is set pretty deep. Rogers run on the sweeper position there from the boundary, running in, but not before Walker could collect 2 to the total. So it's 63 for 3. We're in over number 14, being bowled by Jacob Pauls. This for a semi-final match here, the Razor Massive versus the Blowing Point Pointers. The Paul runs away from us, number 7, and is back. Up, bowls. Walker pushes down the track. Paul dives to his left, fields nicely, and no runs. Yeah, Paul just flexing his arms just a bit after every ball. Maybe probably just feeling the heat out there. It's been very hot, humid, been strong bit of breeze. Again, some instructions there from umpire Hughes. This is to say, Paul runs away from us now. Bowls to Walker. Walker drives into the onside again. Field is set deep. This should be 2 easy runs. The bowler there in Peters running in and picking up, and not before the batsman could cross for 2. So Walker collects 2, and the score moves to 65 for 3. Nearing the end of over number 14. So they are certainly making heavy work of this chase. Pauls runs away from us now. Bowls to Walker, and Walker, big heave-ho, but missed everything. Eludes the keeper there as well, and that's going to be another run signal there by umpire Hughes. By to the total moves to 66 for 3 at the end of over number 14. 66 for 3. The Blowing Point Pointers chasing 134, 135 for victory at the James Ronald Webster Park. 66 for 3 zone.
66 for 3, the Pointers batting, and they would need to make 135 runs for victory, and 6 overs to go, and we're just anticipating what it's going to be like at the end of the 20 overs this afternoon.
Yes, certainly, and certainly looking forward to the next match as well, but this one is winding out to be keenly and tightly contested between these 2 teams for spot in the finals. And, the Pointers would be saying to themselves 134 should be gettable, but making very heavy work in getting to the target so far. They have only lost 3 wickets, but so far they have used 14 overs to accumulate some 66 runs, and if you ask me, not good going in 2020. Well, Burton has completed his stint, and we are going to see a new bowler from the Central Polyclinic Inn. Yes, it looked like David. He would have started from the Pavilion Inn when he got into action here. He's been switched to the Central Polyclinic Inn, and he will be bowling to Oliver Walker. He has a number 10 on his back. We'll just get his score so far. He's not contributed very heavily for the Blowing Point Pointers, and this is a perfect opportune time for him to really see his team over the hump. Here is David, medium pace from the Central Polyclinic and bowls wide outside the off stump, and Walker just steps to it and punch it down there, misfield, and that ball, well, we're just waiting to see the signal. It's 2 runs there to Walker, but not good feeling down there at all. 2 runs to Walker. In the meantime, the score moves to 68 for 3. The start of over number 16, bowled by David. Here is David again, bowls to Walker. And they just dabbed it down there to short third man. That looked like Rogers. He fields and tosses it back into Richardson. And in the meantime, the batters cross for a single. Moves the score to 69 for 3. Brings Northern Lake into strike for the first time, facing David. David to Lake, and Lake punches it over down there to the long on fielder there in Pauls. Fields nicely. In the meantime, the batters cross for another run. Moves the score to 70 for 3. They're just looking to push on here now. In over number 15, bowled by David. Here is David, runs away from the Polyclinic end, bowls to Walker. Walker chips downfield, and ball misses and things. That's going to run into it says run into the boundary, and that's 4 wide. 4 wides there. Move the score to 75 for 3. So not a good delivery there from David at all. Maybe just trying to negate the advancing movement there of Walker, trying to toss it a little closer to him, missing everything, and eluding Walker, eluding keeper Richardson, and the 2 fielders giving chase there in Rogers, and that looks like Fungi there to no avail. 5 actually to the total. David, with ball in hand, runs away from the Central Polyclinic end, bowls to Walker. Walker tries to drive, but peeling off of the outer edge of the bat and trickling down there to short third man in Rogers field. In the meantime, the batsman crossed for a single, moves the score to 76 for 3 in over number 15, bowled by David. Here is David. Runs away, passes umpire, bowl to Lake. Lake swings over there to mid-wicket there. That looks like is that Burton running in from the sweeper boundary there and picking up, and the batter there can only collect a single. So scores move to 77 for 3. David again runs away from us, bowls to Walker. This time Walker hits it high. Burton is coming and settling, and takes an excellent catch there. There is Burton there out in the sweeper area there, coming in, judging that catch very well after a shot play there by Walker, and certainly Walker has to go there. David picking up a wicket there. So that would be a good over there, but this time really outfoxing Walker there, looking to go for a big heave for to increase the scoring, but can only hold out there to the fielder there in Burton to push the pointers in further bother here, chasing 135 as we see Garvey Lake walking to the crease. Leon Lake as well going out, maybe to, I'm not too sure. We've seen so much information being shared, but since this trace has welcomed Doc back into to the microphones, the pointers, they're certainly slipping quickly here, Doc.
Well, they've never looked like they would chase this target at all. They've never looked like they would have gotten close to this target, I must say. And it's going to be relatively cruise control for the Razor Massives from here. There was a slower delivery. Walker, his head was way up in the air, and it was just an easy catch for Burton. He had to come, he settled, and then he took the catch. As it will bring Garvey Lake to the middle, as an over from Kenroy David had been completed. It's going to be Wright to bowl his final over. He has none for 18 thus far off his 3. He is going to bowl his final over. $77 for 4 after 15. They need 58 from 30. They have to go at 11.6 runs and over. If there's one man who can do it, it's Garvey Lake, but he's not shown it thus far in this tournament. It will take a miracle innings from Garvey Lake to get them to this target of 135 from just 5 overs left. 6 overs left, sorry.
They only 5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5. They will only have themselves to blame, as we see.
Right, the ball to Lake. Lake wrapped on the pads. Half appeal goes up. It's a dot ball. 58 from 29. They're going to have to start hitting boundaries quickly. Lake once again wrapped on the pad. They're going for a quick single, and they are going to get there in the end. Was a leg by, call and signaled by the umpire. Here comes Orlando Bob Wright once again. Right, the left arm spinner. He's been going around the wicket to the right hander. He will continue that to Northern Lake. And Lake is getting on top edge, but there's nobody behind the square. It falls right here. Fine leg, short fine leg would have been, but there is no short fine leg. The man from a deep backward point had to come all the way around to do the fielding. In the end, they get 2. So moves on to 80 for 4. 80 for 4. 55 required from 27. Right is into ball. Lake is down the track and he's stumped. He's stumped. Lake came down the track. Wright pulled back his length. And Northern Lake has to go for 6.
Yes, and I guess the pressure and the urgency to score and to score quickly is getting to the batters for the blowing point pointers. And the overs are running out, the balls are running out, and in an effort to really push the scoring on Lake, trying to jump down the wicket, missed everything, and Richardson not missing, just gleefully accepted the stumping chance there to see the back of Lake. And the blowing point pointers only would have themselves to blame, and I think if they would have lost based on the matches they would have lost in this particular encounter, in this particular tournament, I think they would have lost them from a chasing standpoint, so to speak. So they have not been good chasers of runs. They've been good defenders of the total that they would have set. And we can see that telling here today. The Razor Massive, they really would have showed up to play this afternoon.
80 for 5. Carmichael walks to the wicket. at number 7. 80 for 5. 55 needed from 26. Here comes right to bowl to Carmichael. Carmichael's going to leave this one alone outside the line of the off stump. Now 55 required from 25. Run rate is continually climbing. They need to go at 13.2 now. Carmichael trying to pull this one. It's going to be a wide and a run as well. It's going to be 2 wides. One ball left in this over after that wide delivery. Here comes right to bowl to Garvey. Lake trying to cut a little bit under the wide. Losing his discipline now, right. Nobody behind square. Right to bowl to Garvey. Lake driving this one aerially down towards long on. They're coming back for 2. It tries to go to the keeper's end. It does go to the keeper's end. They go up. Not out, says the umpire.
Wow, that one looks very, very close there, but maybe could have been a lot sharper and quicker there with the glove work there. That person of Richardson, allowing Garvey to at least mosey along back to his crease, and it'd be certainly interesting to look at the replay to see that one really. But 2 runs to be had there by the batter there, and 2 runs to the blowing point total as well.
Pals to change ends now. It looks like no. Going to be Kenroy David. It's going to be Kenroy David to continue the attack from the polyclinic end. David, he has bowled 2 overs. He's 1 for 16. 1 for 16 is the man, Kenroy David. David, the right-arm medium pace. So he's bowling from the polyclinic end into his third. Is it now to bowl to Carmichael. Carmichael drives it down into the offside for a single. One run to Carmichael. His first run of the day. Garvey Lake is on strike. He's 2 off 3. 86 for 5. 49 needed from 23 deliveries. Required run rate of 12.78. They need 135 for victory. 49 needed from 23. 86 for 5 the score after 16.1 overs. Kenroy David into his third. He's 1 for 17. Slower ball, that's going to be a wide, called and signaled by the umpire. .48 now from 23. Goes on to 87 for 5. 87 for 5 the score. David into ball to Garvey Lake. Lake looking to tug it into the leg side. And they will get a single. Good bit of fielding out there. Good quick work. Just a single there. 88 for 5 now. As here comes Kenroy David. The right arm medium pace. So over the wicket to bowl to Carmichael. A slow delivery. It's going to pop up into the air, but neither keeper nor bowler could get there. A very good slow delivery by Kenroy David. It is a single, however. Goes on to 89 for 5. 46 needed from 21. They've not hit a boundary in a very long time, the Pointers. I have to go back to the record to see when last they hit a boundary. Here comes David to bowl to Garvey Lake. And Lake is tugging it into the leg side. It will be no more than a single. Slow going, very slow going for the Blowing Point Pointers. A tame end to what promised to be a very good season for them, I must say. Swing and a miss.
Yes. Certainly in the preliminary rounds they would have played very, very well, but it's, you know, as though the Achilles heel is their chasing.
Yes, they have not been able to chase all season, and let's continue here today. Clipped into the leg side. Fungi does the fielding. It's just a single. That's the end of... It shouldn't be the end of the over unless I missed the delivery, because there was a wide in the over. It's the end of the over, I believe, and it's 91 for 5 after 17.
It's 91 for 5 after 17 overs. And like we have seen so many players from the Blowing Point Pointers running out to maybe relay a message, but it's not registering with the Pointers batters, because for sure they have not been able to push things on and steering down the barrel of a defeat here. But like you said, cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, and we will want to see whether or not they can push on from here. They've got 3 more overs to really score some 44 runs, and really looking at losing this one here, but we can't call anything yet. It's going to be that looks like Peters who will be back, and again the pace, serious bother here for the Pointers.
Here comes Peters into bowl to Cheidyn Carmichael, and it's wide down the leg side, and it's going to go into the boundary as well. It's going to be 4 runs the signal, so it was a shot, and it looked like it was going on the leg side, but Carmichael just helped it on its way. 4 runs to Cheidyn Carmichael. The first boundary we've seen in a very long time.
So I would want to think that other than the 4 wides, we have not seen a boundary since the Peters and Omari was batting, really. And so they will welcome that 4 runs. And they'll certainly need to get a lot more of those as well.
Well, 14 needed from 17 deliveries. We're into the 18th over. 14 needed from 17 balls. They're going to need to start striking a lot more boundaries.
Yes, certainly.
95 for 5.
Well, we did saw Kartik score 40 from 19 yesterday, so...
Peters, he has to get his length right. He was way too short last delivery. Way too short. As now, fielder goes into the offside. Peters is into both Cheidyn Carmichael onto this delivery. Carmichael is heaving, and he has been knocked over.
Well,
Cheidyn Carmichael has to go. The pace was too much for him. Trying to tug across the line, and he has been knocked over by Shivnarine Peters. Carmichael goes for 7.
Yes, and here we see Lake going to bat. Lake going down. We'll probably might have sent Hughes to go at this point. If Lake didn't go early in the innings, I'm not too sure the strategy of him going now when they really need some lofty hitting to really at least get back in terms of chasing these 135 runs that they need to get. But good bowling there from Peters, really keeping it straight and just playing across as we looked at the replay here, and the batter there in Carmichael really just stepping back and just playing across the line. Ball and off stump, should have been driving through the offside, and really giving his wicket away there, putting the pointers in a spot of bother there.
Well, it's going to be Leon Lake coming to the middle now. 95 for 6 are the blowing point pointers. 95 for 6. I would have expected maybe Caroline Hughes to come to the middle, but Leon Lake, who we know is a slow starter, it needs to score runs and score them quickly. The Lake brothers in the middle, Garvey and Leon. Leon is on strike. Peters into ball to Leon Lake, and Lake is getting this one off the bottom edge, and it's going to go close to the boundary, and in fact it's going to go all the way. No, it stopped well at the third man boundary. Just, did they run? They didn't even bother to run.
Gets more comical out there, Doc. Two Lake brothers out there. Well,
that was 2 easy runs. They ended up getting no runs.
You see the umpires meeting there mid. So you see the umpires, they're just consulting, and we await. As I said, no run.
Who's going to be showing Peters to continue? A dot ball. Peters into ball to Leon Lake. Lake down the track, hits it high, and there should be no. Ryan's going to let it drop in front of him and consolidate the run. Rather risking going for the catch and giving away a boundary, he just stayed back and kept the ball in front of him. That's a good decision in the end by Rolando Wright.
It's a good decision because he was right back on the boundary, and like the breeze is kind of high, and just kind of held the ball back up a bit. Just decided to go the safe route, picking it up on the bounce and allowing a single.
Here comes the Peters into ball to Garvey Lake. Lake drives it straight down the ground. Two men converging. Wright is going to collect it. They do get 2 runs. The 2 more runs. They are on to 98 in the course of this 18th over. 98 for 6 after 17.5. 1 delivery left in this 18th over. Here comes Showing Peters. Right arm over the wicket to ball at Garvey Lake, and to this delivery, Lake is heaving it. He's connected well, and he's put it straight down the throat of the man at the deep square leg boundary. He spilled it, but he collected it on the second effort, and the Garvey Lake has to go.
Well, the good thing about it is that he got to it, got his entire body behind it, and so even though it bobbled out of his hands, he was still right in position, good position to at least clutch it again and really affecting the catch. So Garvey Lake has to go trying to clear the fences, not doing so this time. Rogers down there picking up a good catch, and really a good opportunity for his team again, Razor Massive, to be into the finals this year, Doc, and they really came to play today. We've seen in a number of occasions where they would have been short of men playing, but they certainly came to play today and look to really get themselves into this final.
1997. So it's 99-7. Peters just bowled the 18th over there. It's actually going to be Leon Lake, who is the batter on strike. I guess the batter's crossed.
So we see some good camera work there by Mega Charles 54, and the replays really bringing good pictures to your screens and to your tellies, your phones, your iPad, your laptops, your tablets. We want to thank all of our sponsors really for really providing and allowing us to pull off this tournament here.
It's 99-7. David into ball to Leon Lake. Slow delivery. Lake tugs it straight to short mid wicket for a single. The 100 is up, I believe. 100-7. $100-7. As it comes David into ball to Rian Solomon. Guides it into the offside. And, well, Lake was jogging in casually. Had right hit the stumps. He was gone for all money's worth.
Which begs the question as to
this one down to mid wicket. It is a single. Solomon back on to strike. David into ball to Solomon. Solomon swings and misses. That's a dot ball. So it's 102 for 7, I believe. 102 for 7. Lake is on 4. Solomon, he is 1.
Give me the second horse. Look at going with this one again. Yo, you ain't talking about a month
as it's going to be Kenroy David in again to bowl to Rian Solomon. This one is what a catch! No, he's put it down! He's put it down as he hit the ground. That would have been a brilliant catch had he been able to hold on to it. He got there, it stuck, but when he hit the ground, the ball came out of his left hand.
Certainly a valiant attempt there by the captain there in Ashan Hodge. Here is David.
Lake picks this one up behind square. There's nobody deep there. That's 4 runs. Did well to get that one behind square. Closed the face on it well and guided it. That's 4 runs. That's the end of 19. It's 107 for 7.
Yes, so 28 runs from 6 balls to be had. Whether they can get it or not, they meet for a conference there in Lake, saying, "Well, let's see, we can hit 6 sixes and get it to where we want it to be." But it's quite a humongous task for them to really score these 28 runs that they need. They've only lost 7 wickets and really made a mess of the chase here today with the way they set themselves out from the top of the innings and going straight through. Then again, we can say good bowling there from the Razor Massive team they have really came to play today and to get into the finals for the second edition of the Anguilla Premier T20 tournament, and they have really applied themselves well and are right there where they want to be. 28 runs, 6 balls, and certainly looking to play for all the marbles here into the finals tomorrow.
Well, 28 required from 6 deliveries. Don't know how likely that is with these two batters being in the middle. They're going to need boundaries and boundaries off every single delivery if they want to get these 28 runs.
We've seen stranger things has happened, really.
This is cricket. This really is cricket. After this game, it's going to be the Farrington Super Sixers up against the Story Ground Beamers in a rematch of last year's final.
Yes, and we've seen some familiar faces that we saw last year as well, Doc.
Here comes Peters. Final over into ball to Solomon. Solomon hits it high. It's going to drop over the head of Ashon Hodge. And they are going to get 2 runs. Two runs there into Solomon. 26 required from 5. Here comes Peters. Peters turns now into ball to Rion Solomon. Solomon is getting this one off the inside edge of the bat. Down to fine leg where Fungi does the fielding. It is just a single. Fungi's accurate, isn't he? He's a designated fielder, Fungi. Hitting the bails from all the way down the deep fine leg. The designated fielder, as we call him. Fungi came onto the field to replace Langville Harrigan. He's a very good fielder, is a man, Fungi.
Very energetic as well, Doc.
Peters. 25 from 4. He's 6 off of every single delivery now. That will not be a 6. It's going to be a wide. That's a wide by Sherwin Peters. It's been a bit naughty in that regard. He's bowled a fair few wides. They need 4 6s or 4 deliveries to win this one. If Peters doesn't continue to bowl extras. 24 from 4. 111 for 7, the score. Peters into ball to Lake. That's along the ground, straight to Ashon. It will be a single.
Yes, and Ashon can sense it. It's not even holding the ball, tossing it back. Can hear the clapping to the back.
The 23 from 3. They need nothing short of a minor miracle. It's going to be Peters. Into ball to Rion Solomon. This one is high. It's not hit far. And Kenroy David will take the catch. Razor Massives are marching onward to the final. A comprehensive display thus far. And a wicket, another wicket for Sherwin Peters. The icing on the cake. He has 3 for the day.
Yes, and we see Carlisle Hughes making his way out. He's just got, what, 1 more ball to face, 2 balls to face. Well, he probably would not be facing because they would have crossed. And it's a mere formality for the blowing point pointers. I'm certainly sure would be very, very disappointed. If you look at the points table, I'm certainly sure they would have topped the points table with the number of games that they would have played in the preliminary round. But when it counts most, when it matters most, right, it's the team in the red from the Island Harbour area, the Razor Massive, at the forefront of this encounter here this afternoon in this first semi-finals. Remember, we are not going anywhere. Coming up right after this match will be the defending champions, the Farrington Super Sixers. They'll be taking on the finalists for last year, the Beamers as well. And seems as though the Farrington Super Sixers has got some reinforcement. I think I saw Jadel Richardson walking across the boat here in front of us, and so certainly is going to be a spark plug for the Farrington Super Sixers. Here's Peters.
Peters in the boat to Leon Lake. It's a dot ball, and it's 23 needed from one delivery.
And we've never seen 23 runs made from one delivery.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Peters from a very short run. It's going to be a dot ball, and that is going to be your game.
Yes, that's it. And Peters is saying to the umpire Hughes as well, well, I should have gotten a wicket there as well. I might want to be careful. I might be reprimanded there. If he thinks that he would have had Hughes, but I'm not too sure that Calvin would have given his son out there. But good win there for the Razor Massive. We've seen them playing in this tournament short-handed at some point, but still making a game of a game that we would have seen them played, especially when they played against the Foreign Stars. This time around, they've got the allotment of the complete team, and really did put on a show here this morning into this afternoon, scoring some 134 runs, and in the end defending it very well, holding the blowing point pointers, who were the table toppers in the preliminary rounds, just to a mere 112 runs for 7 wickets after 20 overs. And so good win there for the Razor Massive Duck.
Well, the man of the match has been given, it looks like, to Richard Burton, but not to discount the brilliant bowling performance of Sherwin Peters. 4 overs, 3 for 19. The top bowling performer today, the top batting performance, Burton, scored 32 from 30 deliveries. Tariq Newman, very slow today, strike rate of just 71. He scored 22 from 31. Then Oliver Walker, he would have gotten to 21 from 20. Then on the bowling side of things, Peters picked up 3 for 19, and then Tariq Newman was 2 for 25, and Jaden Carmichael 2 for 24. Razor Massive winning the toss, shooting the bat. They got to 134 for 7 from their 20. And the Pointers in reply, they did 135 for victory, scored 112 for 8.
So right, I think that's where they would have lost the task, because they lost the match because they actually lost the task, and would want to think maybe Razor Massive thinking, well, the Pointers, they are very good set front runners, so to speak. Let's give them an opportunity to chase, and we have seen here where they would have fell short and faltered in their chase of 134 runs. Gettable, but at the end of the day, not applying themselves well, and lost and a spot in the finals, going a begging there for the blowing point pointers. The Razor Massive, on the other hand, with the third place finish again last year, when they would have done a number on the blowing point pointers in last year's tournament for the third spot. They have done it here again in this year's tournament in the Anguilla Premier T20 tournament. The next match will be coming up shortly. We've got 2-11, and the teams are here, the Beamers are here, the Farrington Super Sixers are here, and they're just about getting themselves ready to do battle here in the second semi-final. So we know that tomorrow we will see the finals between well, we know that the Razor Massive, they have booked their spot in the finals for tomorrow. They'll wait to see whether they will be playing against the Farrington Super Sixers, or would that be maybe the Beamers for a second time around. And so we want to thank all of our commentators as well so far for this morning. The man in Shivnarine Benjamin, the person in Bryan, the Alkins Rogers, the Zulma, as well as we have the captain here for the Raise the Massive Inn with us, Ashan Haj. We want to say good afternoon to you. Welcome to the microphones of Radio Anguilla 95.5, Class FM 92.9.
Hi, good afternoon everyone, radio listeners and everyone listening to the games.
So your thoughts and how you thought your team would have played out there. Start first from the winning the toss and choosing to bat. Was that a strategy plan based on how the Pointers would have played previously?
Most definitely. We did a lot of match research before the games. We understood each player, their strengths and weaknesses, the teams, and we were more than ready for this challenge. You know, I said it all came down from the toss. We won the toss. We said we need to go and put on a challenging total, and whatever we have, we're going to defend, and that's what we did. So I'm proud of the guys.
So far, when you would have played the preliminary games as well, sometimes you were short-handed, but you still made a game of the matches that you competed in. At one point, we saw where you only fielded like some 7 players and did make a match for it. But when it mattered most, you got yourself into the semi-finals, and when it mattered most, your players showed up for this performance. What would you say would have changed today as opposed to during the preliminaries?
Well, I'm always up for a challenge, you know, and in the preliminary games, a lot of things weren't going our way, so we needed to get some restructuring and reorganization within the group, and our leaders needed to step up, and we stepped up and we got the job done today, but the job isn't finished. We have a game tomorrow that we need to put our best foot forward as well. You started off at your turn at bat, and you started setting a score very, very well. At one point, you were scoring 11 runs and over, and then there was some a cluster of wickets in between. You yourself being run out. Unfortunately, when you lost those wickets, what were the thought going through the camp as to how you're going to approach to set a respectable score that you feel that you could have defended? Okay, well, all in all, that's cricket. You know, the goal is always to be positive and back each other. So when we had a good start, we started to lose wickets, we just needed to believe in each other. Those that are down the order to come, they backed themselves to bat up the order if that was the case. So it was good that they actually came out and got a chance to show just how good they are. We have an extravagant team, a great set of guys. What are your thoughts on the partnership between Jacob Pauls? He has, I think this is his first match, correct? Yes. I think we saw him playing last year's tournament as well. A good fillip to your team. He and himself and Burton, they put on a 50 partnership that pushed your score and a total to some form of respectability. Your thoughts on that? How you thought Burton bowled in his team in your defense of the total? What are your general overview and what are you looking for tomorrow come in the final? Yes, all of the guys on the squad, even down to the 13th man, we all have roles and duties to fulfill. And Jacob has been such an asset on this team. He just came into Anguilla yesterday. You know, he needed to get acclimatized to the conditions and whatnot, so he might have been a little slow at the beginning. But still, we were losing a lot of wickets and we needed someone to stay in the wicket and spend time. And that's exactly what he did. Richard Burton has been a guy, even last year, he's been Mr. Consistent. When things been falling around him, he has been leading from the front. And then when both Richard and Jacob got their chance to bowl today, they bowled superb. I couldn't ask for anything more from the captain. Well, thank you, Ashan, and we wish your team the very best in tomorrow's finals, and we're looking forward to a good one as well. Thanks for having me. Cheers. That was the captain there for the Razor Massive, Ashan Haj, just speaking a little bit about his team's performance and the victory for today. And we are going to have the captain for the Blowing Point Pointers. Leanne, good afternoon. Commiserations on your loss this afternoon. What did you think went wrong out there today?
Well, honestly, I believe that chasing 135 is modest, but our top order. They made some changes and it didn't work out. We scored too slow in the power play and end up building a lot of pressure. They bowl very well. You got to give. You're playing cricket, you know. And I said it to you when you joked with me yesterday that it's still cricket. I think we had a better team. We just didn't show up today and perform at our level, and it happens. And they build pressure like we did to the Farrington another game, and they got us.
Would you say that you would have preferred to set a target and to bowl to your strength that has worked well for you throughout the course of the tournament, or either way, whether you would have won the toss and decided to field first or bat first? You thought that one...
Well, unfortunately, the first toss I lose, I always bat first because I believe in my strength. So I think the Lugard went against us. They got 130 yard. You know, it's not a big score, but on the wicket, if you bowl well, you could defend it. And I've proven that with the team. That's why you end up top of the league. But for all for not, you know, and it's very disappointing for me. Even with me batting, I think that I should have batted already today. What happened, but it's done gone, you know. So you just come back and see what we can do for next season if we'll be around. But I think for me, I've played a lot of years of cricket, so that might just be my last one. So to win the tournament, come out on top was good for me. I'm not too sure I'm going to be here next year, but I'll try if they need me. But definitely, I'm not disappointed about the lose. I'm disappointed that we come top of the league and people's expectations was high. So you know, I think that it's cricket. At the end of the day, cricket must be the winner, and you got to give Wiz a massive credit. I mean, they came in today and they bowled well. They set the field well. They were a different team. They showed up today and we made some errors and we paid for it.
But they got up to a flyer. They got up to a flyer start, and then you were able to pull things back. Correct. Though. And then, in the latter stages of the overs, you weren't able to contain and to take wickets as you would have liked. You had the likes of Omari Banks, who is an international player, bowler. He didn't bowl today. Was that something that...
Well, Omari was kind of injured. That's why he didn't play much games. So we didn't want to risk him. You know, he has his future. He plays music, so we didn't want to risk him. But I think the guys that we bowled well. I mean, they were after a flyer, like you said, they was 50 out of 5, you know. And to pull them back to 135 was great. But I thought that in the field, we had chances that went out to the boundary that we should have turned into chances. We didn't. I don't think we throw. We had a lot of misfields early in the start, where the first 3 balls from the seamer went through the fielders for 4. So it comes back to hand, you know. It's cricket.
Well, we want to wish you all the best. Like you said, it's cricket. You know, sometimes you would have played very well throughout the preliminaries. When it mattered most, it didn't happen for you.
Yes.
And it's certainly back to the drawing board, I guess.
Well, I think that we have a good team. I think we have the better team in the tournament. But just on today, we just lost today, and I was keep telling the guys, you know, it's when we lost against the Beamers by that last over, I told them that's the only game. We shouldn't lose that game. We lost that. I thought that was the good loss. This is a hard loss for us today. But it's up to guys playing cricket, you know. Some of the younger guys, I want to wish them well as they go along into the futures. But attitude and body language take you a long way. And when you're watching our batting, Newman that started this tournament in the bank, I thought fouled off big time and not knocking him. You know, in the show today that we should have moved him from the top. We didn't, and it cost us.
Well, we wish you all the best and better luck next time.
Yes, thank you. And thank you all. Thanks to the media. And that's it. Bless it.
Well, there you had it. The voice of Leon Lake, the captain. He did mention that possibly could be his last tournament. He says he has been playing cricket for quite some time and might have been his last tournament as Zulma steps into on the other end of me. Zulma, your thoughts on what you saw